Hey, how you doing? This is SEIJIHITO here to bring you another live stream. Not sure how long this is going to be, but we're just going to do it just because, and plus because YouTube wants to hold one of my videos in the background for whatever reason, which makes no sense. So here we are. So we have the instance where we're dealing with quite a few things, right? One of the main stories that are up at this moment is this one dealing with DDG and the fact that Halle wants to ask for pretty much full custody of the child. And again, I want to note that this is a all black family, right? DDG, Halle, Halo, and I've watched DDG and his content creation over years before. A lot of mainstream people in the sense knew who he was. This man always had a presence directly on social media. This dude was getting money before he was even in a relationship directly with Haley, however the name is pronounced. And overnight, as soon as it was confirmed that both of the two people here were directly in a relationship, there were women online complaining and saying this about DDG and all this other type of stuff. And I'm like, that's weird. I'm like, where is all of this even coming from? Like this immediate hate because he's with Halle, right? And I'm like, that's a little bit weird. I'm like, shouldn't people be happy that these two black entertainers are, together? They found something, some commonality, and they came together. I'm like, hey, we're going to be in a relationship. You would think that that would be the case, but obviously not, because the women who follow her had a whole different type of picture of who it is that they wanted her to specifically be with, and for whatever reason, DDG was not that. Shout out to 803 and to Miss Anderson. What is up? What is up? And so then they end up having a relationship, and throughout that relationship, they ended up having Halo. And primarily, I've seen DDG ecstatic, happy, loving the fact that he has his son. He wants his son pretty much in every single facet of his life because the brother streams. And the moment in time that DDG wanted to start having Halo directly on streams, there oddly enough started to be problems. And it was more so coming from the mother, where she wanted to dictate how it is that he is able to place or put said child directly on stream, or whose house he's specifically going over to, and all. Like magically, there were all of these stipulations. I'm like, that's a little bit weird. I'm like, is he not a parent? Is he not able to discern, have some type of discernment on who to be around and who not to be around and all of these things? I'm like, I think that should realistically be the case, but obviously not. So then after that took place, here and there throughout, what was it, 2024? I want to say. Yeah, because we're in 2025. Throughout the times of 2024, there was a large hoopla, a large problem that was being shown directly on stream. DDG openly talked about and everything like that. And then later on, they ended up breaking up, right? After they broke up, they were still doing the whole, co parenting, type of deal that most everyday people do in real life. But even with that, there were still some type of problems, some type of issues, and all these other things. And now, out of the whole relationship, out of the whole thing of them having kids, now you have her basically trying to come out of nowhere and state that, oh, he put hands on me. This chipped tooth that I got is because of him. Oh, look at these bruises that I got and all this other type of stuff. And I'm like, really? So I'm like, oh, so I'm like, you got Rock Nation and everything behind you, right? You are the Little Mermaid. You got all of this money, right? You can sing. You have all of these talents. You got Jay-Z and everything behind you. So you mean to tell me that you wait until now to decide to bring this on social media and to, in a sense, talk about this, and all to make the move so that you can get full custody? That's crazy. Somebody said DDG is doing too much. She has been easygoing thus far, and he's just trying to bring down her celebrity. Really now? Really not. You know, the funniest thing that I love so much because I've seen women just like this who have like the sweetest type of personality, and people think that they're the most innocent people directly out there. And it's a whole different story. Matter of fact, instead of me trying to convey that, right? Instead of me trying to convey that, let me let me just play this little clip.
In a relationship, I think I have anxious attachment style. Everybody knows I'm an Aries, I'm a fire sign. I get very passionate. I seem nice online and innocent and everything, but you guys do not know. I will go to battle with my yelling, with my words, everything.
So just in that clip by itself, right? So the person, let me repeat what you said. You said DDG is doing too much, right? She has already been easygoing thus far. He's just trying to bring down a celebrity. She just specifically told you and many others that want to back her up that she seems nice and sweet from the horse's mouth. She's like, I seem nice and sweet, but I'm really not that type of person without the cameras running. When the cameras are running, I give off this persona. I give off this type of sweet, innocent, da da da, all this other type of stuff. But when those cameras not on, it's rah rah rah. I'm running my mouth. I'm talking my stuff. I'm in your face. I'm doing this. I'm doing that. That's literally what she's stating. But yet, even with this being online, you still have women deciding that they want to side with her and say that she is 100% in the right and she is the victim of the whole story. Let's continue.
I'm good at that, right? And if I gotta yell or check anyone, that's what I gotta do. That's just the way I be. Clap back or sit back. I always have to choose clap back. I'm sorry. I'm a very kind person. But if somebody pokes at me or the people that I love, it's over for you. I'm an Aries. Sorry.
So hold on. I see Miss Anderson. Miss Anderson said, my daughter met her. Let me get you real quick. You said, my daughter met her at Disney and she said that her attitude was horrible. I would not be too surprised. I wouldn't be too surprised. This would not be the first female celebrity who has positioned themselves to be innocent and having the sweet, caring persona and to, go a whole different route. Right. On V said, why do black women always do this crap? Uh, you know, I don't know what to say. Yo, Monique, what is up? What is up? What is up? Um, you said this clip was before their child was in the picture. I'm sure she takes a different stance now. No, if a person is honestly going to tell you with their chest out who it is that they are, it's not going to sit up there and change because they have a child. It's going to be magnified. Like, yeah, I don't understand how that works. She's honestly telling you what it is that she does, how it is that she goes about things. She literally said that, oh, well, if somebody decides to say something, I'm not going to take a whole nother road. I'm going to be sitting up there fighting fire with fire. Huh? Let's continue. let's keep going.
Never have I ever started drama with my boyfriend for no reason.
Put it down.
I've, you know.
So let's go back to that. So there was this question, this game that people like to play where you gotta put a hand down if you've basically done these things. Her sister immediately, and this is her sister who knows her. They came from the same womb. They grown up. They seen together, live in the same house more than likely, or something like that. Her sister knows her better than any of y'all that want to sit up there and defend her. She literally said that she has started arguments with her boyfriend for no reason. What type of sense does that make? What type of logical sense? Why would you be in a relationship with a person that you love and care directly for? Why would you want to start an argument or a situation when there's nothing but peace going on? Why would you want to do that? Why would you want to do that? I'm a little bit confused. Like I said before, there was a rebuttal for the first one. I need to hear a rebuttal for this one. Like I said before, this is the same woman who just told you earlier, oh, I appear to be sweet and nice, but actually, without these cameras on, I'm a whole different person. And what did she keep attributing that to? She was like, oh, I'm an Aries. I'm an Aries. I'm an Aries. That's just what we do. That's just how we get down. And she just literally told you that she starts arguments with her boyfriend for no reason. There could be complete peace directly in the house. She's the one that decides, oh, I want chaos. Let me just start an argument for no reason. Huh? Huh? Like who wants to be around a person? This is why I'm trying to get anybody to just comprehend real quick. Just imagine that you're a peaceful type of person, right? And you fell in love with somebody, right? This is your all. This is who you want to sit up there and be with. But then the person that you fell in love with, again, you're a peaceful person, but that person wants to bring chaos. You're the type of person that wants to bring cool, calm, level-headed collectiveness to everything. Right? You're a peaceful person. You want the person that you love to be at peace. But the person that you love is directly dictating and telling you, I don't want peace. I want war. Huh? How does that make sense? How does that logically, emotionally, how does that make sense? That seems to me, as I'm going just through this little snippet of a video with her and her sister, that she is the problem. But I digress. Let me keep going.
I'm territorial. I'm a jealous girlfriend. I'm a territorial girlfriend. Where you go, who are you with? That's me.
So you heard that, right? She said in that little clip, again, being problematic, she said that she is highly territorial. How do we know this? There was a clip that I put up before about last year where DDG was complaining on how it is that he could not have Halo on a stream, like if he was going to like Kai Sanad or doing this or doing that, because magically there were going to be women around. But I'm like, that's a little bit weird. I'm like, so he's not able to make money because he makes money by streaming. He does do, music and some other things, but primarily he makes tremendous amount of money by way of streaming and other things of that nature. So you mean to tell me that he wants to have his son around, he wants to show his son off. He's a proud father. He loves his child. He wants to bring and take his child, pretty much wherever he goes, right? And you mean to tell me that because you are a jealous, territorial type of woman, you're going to use that in order to dictate what that father can do and not do when he has a son? It seems to me, as I'm looking at this, that it further proves that men don't have equal rights when it deals with children. Because a man can't just up and do this and then have the whole internet directly on his side. It just doesn't work out. It just does not happen. It just does not happen at all. That's crazy. That's diabolical. Mm. Somebody said, because I watched DDG and he is so full of it all, I am unbiased. Okay, I guess so. Um, let me see. You said him entertaining her home and sniffing bed sheets is weird. Sorry, I don't even know what it is that you're even talking about there. Bad, yo, what is up? You said, yo, what's up, Ty? You said it makes sense to women very often. I mean, that's true. East said, here we go. So what person hasn't in a relationship? That's not the point. You're completely missing the point. The point that I'm stating is that you have a woman that is being portrayed on social media as being an angel, but she's telling you on camera that she is highly problematic and that she causes issues and problems. But even with that still being the fact, and she is saying it herself, this isn't AI, Chat GPT, this isn't AI altered or anything like that. This is her saying that next to her sister, right there. Women are still like, oh, she's innocent. She's a victim. She's this, she's that, all this other type of stuff. Like when I sit up there and tell y'all the amount of people that are coming out right now speaking on the half of DDG, that says a lot. That dude is pretty much silent. Out of everything that DDG has, people got to pay attention. Out of everything that DDG has gone online and specifically try to advocate for, try to bring awareness directly to, he is now silent. He just recently canceled a stream because he wants to work on handling a lot of this because there's a lot of legalities now because this is where she wants to push it. He has to now focus on doing that stuff versus his bread and butter, which is being on stream, making money, being entertaining, and all of those things. Right. So his money has to basically stop because he has to deal with this legal situation. Her money is not going to stop. See how that works? So again, not only does she have an avenue or a way of trying to control the situation when it deals with the say so of what he can and cannot do with his own son, but she can also do or put some legalities in there where it basically stops him from being able to go to and from and make money, even without his son being there. Like I said, people ain't paying attention. And then the other thing that I mentioned as well too is again, it's great that if that's what people want to do, that's what people want to do. The main point that I'm stating here is that this is very problematic. If you have a person that is peaceful, but then the other person doesn't want peace, they just want to be chaotic, that's a problem. And for you to sit up there and say, so what? And what person has it, that proves that you yourself are a problematic person. If you don't find the issue within that. Like I said, I guess a lot of y'all out there just like drama for no reason. You don't know how to actually stay within peace. You can't just stay in silence. Silence makes you uneasy. It bothers you. Like I said, that's crazy. You might want to sit up there and seek some help. You might want to work on that. Another person, Cap, said, why would he all of a sudden go after her and become this way while she's what? Dropping off the child, and she hid this for 4 months from everybody. I think she's got a makeup artist to stage brushing. Like I said, I don't know. But and again, like I said before, I have to question this because she has Rock Nation behind her, right? They got like Jay-Z, high price lawyers. Her sister got money, she got money. Like I said, they got all the money in the world to literally just put out any and all information if all needs be. Just put out the information. I think they also got a streaming platform. Could easily just put out this information months ago. Like I said, they got separate houses. So nobody's going to sit up there and try to tell me that, oh, well, she's a victim and she's obviously scared. And nah, I ain't trying to hear none of that. I'm not trying to sit up there and hear none of that. I ain't trying to hear none of that. Because the funniest thing is, if people want to try to say that DDG is this type of person where he's just going to like haul off and swing on somebody, literally on stream, you had a woman snatch his chain. I'm talking about this chain was worth probably like hundreds of thousands, if not maybe 1M. Snatch that chain off his neck and sit up there and run with it. Let me let y'all know something. If any ordinary woman was to roll up on a dude and to sit up there and snatch the chain directly off his neck that he done sat up there and sacrificed blood, sweat, and tears for money on his neck, you roll up. I'm telling you, that's the last time you rolling up. You are going to be on the floor. You're down goes Frazier. That's what's going to sit up there and happen because you shouldn't be putting hands on nobody and you shouldn't be snatching jewelry and stuff that is not yours. And that happened during the live stream. And you have men out here that are going to the fact of like, yo, DDG is not the type of person to sit up there and put hands directly on a woman. Like we literally saw this on stream. If guys are telling you that a guy is not that type of guy, you might want to sit up there and believe him. Because guys will tell you like, yo, yeah, this dude seemed like the type of person to do X, Y, Z. And then they'll tell you, no, this dude, he ain't even real like that. He ain't built like that. Like I said, guys can sit up there and tell you. Women, not really so much. Women don't know really how to judge guys to a finite point. Men know other men. But like I said before, it be like that. But I'm sorry. Let me keep going through these comments here. Z said maybe got a point that is. Bad said all women say is because of my zodiac sign. Yeah. Zaddy said just hit the like button. E said chaos. Did she say chaos? We don't know what's going on in that house. Some relationships are different. You do know that they got different places, right? I'm just saying, like nobody's married, nobody's engaged, nothing like that. DDG got his own, she got her own and everything. I'm just trying I'm just trying to figure out here. Like, this is like I said. Yes, if a woman is avidly saying from her own face, talking from her own lips, stating that yes, when I'm in a relationship directly with a guy, I'm just going to cause an argument for no reason. When I'm in a relationship with a guy, no matter how it started, I always have to sit up there and end the conversation and have the last word. That's problematic. That's problematic because there's a lot of dudes out here, and I've witnessed arguments in public where a guy just said one thing and he was like, "All right, I'm done. I'm just done with the conversation," and it wasn't no type of shot or anything to have the woman feed off of. He was just like, "You know what? All right, I'm done with the conversation. You got it." I've seen this far too many times throughout whatever age range you want to sit up there and list. And you know what I commonly see women do? When a dude says that he's done with the conversation, oh, the woman is not done. Even if the dude doesn't want to go off of or feed off of the negativity, such as women want to take low blows, take jabs and shots, say unnecessary things, when all of that fails and the dude is like, yo, you got it, you win, champ, this conversation is yours, this argument is yours, I've seen this too many times, women will keep going. They will get them own selves hyped up and angry about something for no reason, just to keep an argument going. That's chaotic. That's problematic. You need help. You're not as intelligent as you think that you are. The emotionally intelligent person is the one that wants to remove himself from the conversation, that wants to stop the conversation before it moves far too into an area of which it doesn't need to go. And usually men try to do that. But when men try to separate themselves, women are like, nah, you ain't doing it because I ain't done. When I'm done, that's when the conversation is done. That's normally 9 times out of 10 how women work. Just saying. Somebody said, do you watch DDG? I've watched streams. I've watched streams. I'm on social media, so I happen to partake and watch a variety of different streamers directly out here. Cap said people are such and such during relationships and not after because the individual has less power, right? Facing, he said, what woman isn't? What woman wants her man around other women? Let me explain something to you real quick. If you have a guy such as DDG, he makes his money directly off of streaming, right? This is how he works. So he makes money by entertainment. All of his stuff is pretty much filmed, right? He's around other people. He has to socialize, right? He's not playing Grand Theft Auto 24/7 and making money. If that was the case, then okay, you may have a point, but that's not what we're talking about. This dude has to make entertaining streams to keep viewers' attention. So you mean to tell me that what he has to do now because of her is that now he has to isolate himself in order just to be able to do. But yet she can take trips, she can go to parties, she can be around whoever it is that she wants to sit up there and be around, along with taking a child around those said people. That seems a little bit weird to me. Notice how one side is controlling and how the other side isn't. See how that works? But I guess, like I said before, when it deals with women, women only see it one way, right? Another person said, yes, men shouldn't want every man around their child and vice versa. See, this is the problem. Usually when it deals with men, yes, you are correct in one sense, right? Men would not want their child around any and every. You are correct. But at the same time, we also understand that mothers should also have discernment, right? If a mother has discernment, that would also mean that a father would what? Huh? What would that class have discernment? Right. So again, you're not going to have DDG going out here and trying to be controlling over what it is that she is able to do and not do. Right. Because if DDG was online doing that, y'all would call him weird. I mean, y'all already call him weird. Right. I've seen women sit up there and call him a variety of things. There's only one collection type of women that are doing this. I'm just going to sit up there and make that very clear. Certain out of the whole planet, it's only one segment of women that are doing it. Right. And they're solely based here in the United States, demonizing, criminalizing, all of that stuff. But if DDG was to do the same thing that Halle is doing right now, y'all would call him weird. Y'all would call him controlling. Y'all would say that he's manipulative and all this other type of stuff. But if she does it, oh, it's because she's a caring mother. It's because she really cares about her child. It's because a woman should really have more say so over, their child. Matter of fact, let me just bring up a comment that somebody um, basically stated online, right? Um, let me see. This one, this person right here, you might not be able to say it, you might not be able to see, you might have to sit up there and zoom up. But this person said this: we need to protect women of color from men like this. She is totally innocent and the victim. A mother should always have more say so than the father. He totally provoked her. See how that works? Notice that. And women always say that, oh, why don't men want to be a part of their children's lives and all this? It's because of stuff like this. And 9 times out of 10, you got a lot of women that believe just like this, that a mother should pretty much have all say so. A father is pretty much nothing but a DNA donor. That's how a lot of women think. So this is why you see a lot of women on social media saying stuff just like this and saying that DDG should have no say so. He shouldn't have no type of custody, even though there has nothing been proven that he is a danger to his child. I've only seen this dude being loving and caring and putting his child, his son, directly on a pedestal. But now he's demonized. He's not a good father. He's a deadbeat. He's this. Like I say, you can't win. You can't win. You could literally be pictured online every single day with your child as a father, and somehow, some way, women out here will still call you a deadbeat. They will still call you dusty. They will still say that you are not a provider or a protector, that you're not there for the family. It's some crazy work. It's crazy work. Diabolical how that works. 100%. Jab said he should use all of this evidence in his custody case. He should. He should. He said, so then how is she portraying an angel then if she expresses her own ish? And I'm not even getting to DDG. You're just a panel. I I don't even know what that means. I don't even know what that last part even means. Because she literally stated, and let me go back to this because you said how is she? Let me just go back because I see that we got to just replace some stuff because people
In a
just
relationship, I think I have anxious attachment style. Everybody knows I'm an Aries, I'm a fire sign. I get very passionate. I seem nice online and innocent and everything, but you guys do not know. I will go to battle with my yelling, with my words, everything. I'm good at that, right?
So you not just hear what she said? And her sister is sitting there smiling. She's not disagreeing. She's sitting there smiling and nodding her head because her sister knows her. And you ask me, how was she portrayed as an angel? She just told you. Let me just repeat that one more time because I know some people are hard of hearing in the back.
In a relationship, I think I have anxious attachment style. Everybody knows I'm an Aries, I'm a fire sign. I get very passionate. I seem nice online and innocent and everything, but you guys do not know. I will go to battle with my yelling, with my words, everything. I'm good at that, right? And if I gotta yell or check anyone, that's what I gotta do. That's just the way I be.
So she told you. She told you that when it is that she's in front of the camera and everything else, she's as sweet as can be, being portrayed as an angel. But she's also sitting up there telling you, like, hey, that's really a facade. You don't know me. I looked at the hand movements. I know those hand movements. I've seen those a lot of times, and usually a lot of women that tend to move their hands like that, they also the same ones that like sitting up there running their mouth real quick, just off the cuff, talking out the side of your neck, saying stuff that don't need to be said. And those are also the main ones that like sitting up there pointing their finger directly in a man's face, sitting up there pushing his forehead, sitting up there trying to slap him, doing all of these things. But like I said before, hey, you got it. Like I said, she innocent. You got it. You got it, coach. You got it. Somebody said, why can't I see the chat? That's depending on where it is that you're looking. Because you got two different streams going on at the same time. Normally at one point in time, I would actually have the chat showing up, but we have a lot of people that like to come through and troll. So, that stops that from being a thing. Right. So you can't have nice things because of the few people that want to destroy it for the many. So that's to this person here talking about why can't they see the chat. Cap said, no one finds it suspicious that she said nothing for 4 months to anyone but the courts. This stinks as a setup. Yeah. Yeah. Third eye. Oh, replying to East. East said personal attack. Sure. East said, I can tell you don't watch DDG. I was a regular viewer of the show. I like DDG, but he's a modern day misogynist that propagates mongering and creating broken homes and loses and loose with what it is that he does. Um this is what I want to sit up there and say, because I always hear like this whole thing of women want to talk about misogyny and all this other type of stuff. It's like some crazy work. All right, I get it. You're an independent woman. You don't need a man. All that other type of stuff. I get it. As soon as I hear the word misogynist, I already know where this is going. Like I said, if women are attracted, again, he's not in a relationship. If women are attracted to DDG, they want to flirt with them or do whatever it is that they want to do in between two consenting adults. There's nothing wrong with that. If a woman wants to freely give herself over to DDG, how is he at fault directly for that? So he, as a man, is only supposed to have holier than thou women directly on his platform and only showcase that. That don't make any sense, because last time I checked, when I look at modern women directly out here, who are they idolize? Shout out to Glorilla, Meg Thee Stallion, Cardi B, Nicki Minaj, all these Doechii, all of these women are half naked showing off their bodies. But the same thing that you're saying right now, where he propagates this mongering of women, I don't hear this type of talk when it deals with these women out here who are artists showing off their bodies 24/7, so that all men can oogle and eye and look directly at, so that they can get the attention that they need to whatever streams or whatnot or whatever. I never hear that same talk. But DDG is the problem, though, and not how it is that women decide to carry themselves when it deals with men. Okay, you got it. You got it. You got it. You got it, champ. You got it. Third Eye said, drop a link to Face East. Apparently, she wants to debate. Wait, what debate? That's crazy. What personal? Hold on, I'm a little bit confused. Hold on, I'm a little bit confused. What personal attacks? Somebody, class, anybody at this moment in time? What? Who did I, other than talking about DDG and Halle? What real personal attacks did I sit up there and make, at least towards this person here? I'm just trying to figure out. Just let me know. I'm just trying to sit up there and figure out, right? Because it's a little bit weird to me that automatically now I've been just sitting up there making and again, for the mods, leave this person alone, leave them directly here, leave them here. This is just for the conversation, because I'm just trying to figure out. Stops at any convenient that this drops while he's streaming, especially with Aiden Ross. Yeah, yeah, I saw that. I saw it as soon as it happened. I'm like, wow, that's crazy. That's crazy. Somebody said the people defending him have bad allegations on them, so I wouldn't say that. Like I said, I don't know any of those people's histories. I'm looking at the fact that people are coming out and basically speaking on his behalf as the type of person that he is. You know, either with his child or the things that they've seen when it deals with behind the scenes arguments between him and Halle, right? So, like I said, if people want to try to use whatnot or whatever to try to take away and discredit that, to take that off of the shelf, that's crazy to me. Because all evidence needs to be directly out there. If somebody's going to levy an argument to try to say that DDG is this type of person, then we need to sit up there and allow a complete even playing field and let everything out there. It shouldn't just be like a one-sided type of thing, because when I look on social media, all I'm seeing is one-sided. I see pretty much two communities directly out there that are on Halle's side. They DDG is this type of bad person. He's this, that, and the third, and all this. That's all I see. And I'm like, that's a little bit weird. I'm like, so no, there's no other, there's not an opposite side. Like magically, nobody knows anything about this woman at all. Everybody just knows specifically about DDG. I'm like, oh, that's a little bit weird. That's a little bit, it's a little bit weird. Um, Facing, he said, but you said that she She said that she creates chaos. She did not say that. She said that she starts arguments for no reason. There could be sexual tension. Arguments have different. No, I don't. No, I'm not trying to hear that. I'm not. I'm not trying to. I'm not trying to even hear that. That's great. Hold on, because that's what Third Eye said. Hold on. Let me just do this. No problem. Um. So there you go. Because Third Eye, because Third Eye was like, "Yo, give East the link, no problem." So the link is directly down. I think I'll know when a person shows up because it'll show up at the bottom, I guess. Um, let me see. Black Hills said women are toxic. This is why lesbian relationships have the most amount of issues. He said, okay, so you just never argue. Got it. Case closed. Then I hear you. Uh this is the thing. For me, I never said that I never argue. I argue over very specific things. I argue over things that actually matter. Like if it deals with like bills, very important stuff, that stuff that, arguments nearly come from. I'm not going to just argue over nonsense. All right. So we got East directly up here. Let me add you here. Are you able to hear me or hello, hello? Well, I think she might have to get the sound. I think I hear something. East, can you hear me? I'm not sure if she might be using headphones. We can hear static, I think, coming from your end. I'm not sure if you may be using headphones or ear pods, but because I'm guessing you might be using the phone. Let me keep going while she gets that situated. He said, I have watched this stream regularly, so I can have a different insight. If you don't want to hear it, fine. Either way, this isn't my fight, but it doesn't pay my bills. Oh, you sent a message. You say, uh, I can come out and come back in. No headphones, no earbuds. Okay, okay, I got you. The link should still work, so you would just click the same link, and it should put you back in there, and then I'll put you up. Um, all right, so let's try that there. Hello, can you hear me? We are still getting static at the moment. I'm not sure if you might have to check the settings on your phone, possibly. Because like I can hear the static, so I know that I guess like something's trying to come through, but it's like we can't get any type of like words or anything. So I'll let you try to get that one figured out. D, what is up? You said what is up, Seji? I hope you just started. I've been having internet issues all day. I haven't missed much. Okay, yeah. No. You good. You good. You good. We pretty much just started. I mean, you wrote that at about like 3:26. So you good. Uh let me see. Chaos. Women, this is why. Okay. Let me see what else we got. I'm trying to catch up. Okay, watch the stream on regular, right? And let me keep trying to go. Okay, East had stated at 6:34 that I'm not leaving for you. I just wanted you to stop talking. Wait, what? Oh, okay. Okay, I think you were playing. Okay. Um, what else we got? So Let me see. Sham said, "Evening, everyone. I hope you are having a good day." What is up, Sham? What is up? What is up? What is up? What's up? Let me see. Sham said, "How you carry yourself is on you. You can't blame anyone else for what you wear and what type of company you keep. What trips me out is people never want to be held accountable." That is true. That is true. That is true. Sham says she knew what type of dude he was when she hooked up with him. She wanted that smoke, that drama. It makes her money. Mm, that's a different point. Judith Miller said she's the lowest common denominator in all of her marriages. Wait, are you talking about for Halle? Because that girl ain't married. That girl, that is a girl. Yo, Pink, what is up? What is up? What is up? Third Eye said, guess I was wrong. Some people are gluttons for punishment. Uh, Dexter Jones says she may have had to unmute herself. Yeah, maybe. Yeah, because whenever I give like a link and I'm able to pull people up, they're automatically able to talk. That's how I was able to hear that she had like some static directly in the background. I don't think she was muted because I was able to hear static directly from her end. I just wasn't able to hear her for whatever reason. So that's what I was saying. Like maybe she probably had to go through like the settings on her phone in the background for what was able to get accepted. Because I think in the background it's been a minute since I've literally entered on StreamYard myself, but I know you usually have to accept either the camera. If you don't want the camera on, you don't have to, have that on. But usually you have to accept the mic so that you could, be able to speak and everything like that. Jules said, Halle Bailey, in my opinion, is a manipulative person that wants to appear as a good girl, but is full of it. Mm. Briggs said her service is nervous. That's crazy. That's diabolical. Anyways, we're going to continue directly on to the next part.
Clap back or sit back. I always have to choose clap back. I'm sorry. I'm a very kind person, but if somebody pokes at me or the people that I love, it's over for you. I'm an Aries. Sorry. Never have I ever started drama with my boyfriend for no reason. Put it down.
Well, let me try it again. Hold on.
Hello.
Okay, there we go.
Great.
Wait, so for anybody else to just helpfully educate anybody else that happens to accept the link, what did you specifically have to do in the background in order to get your voice to work?
My personal PC was muted. I'm not on my phone, I'm on my laptop. So my laptop was
Okay.
muted. Yeah. I
Okay.
was unmuting StreamYard and all that, but my laptop was muted.
Okay.
My
Okay.
mic.
No
My
problem.
mic. Yeah.
No problems. I figured that's probably what it was. That's what I was trying to explain to people before, that usually you have to do I think it's like access accept, where it's like, all right, you don't want the camera on, so you don't accept that, but you accept the mic so that you're able to speak and everything.
I would, but Lenovo didn't do me right. The camera never worked when I bought it, and I've had the laptop less than a year, so I'm stuck with it. But
Oh no, you don't got a camera up or nothing. No. That's
okay.
yeah,
Well, thank you for inviting me up.
no
I'm
problem.
a subscriber and I saw you went live. I've,
Much love.
followed DDG before, watched the show heavily. He warmed my heart, but as I started to look more into the show, this is exactly what the Black community, in my opinion, does not need. And I have to be honest and give this premise that I am a Hebrew Israelite, first off and foremost, all praises to the Most High, okay?
Hmm.
So when I look at DDG and I see that he consummated with this woman and had a child, and then no sooner does she give birth, it's all over with and done. So I'll just give you a couple few points of why I'm coming from where I'm coming from. And then
Okay.
also just say that I don't know exactly what's going on. Somebody, I think you said something about hitting or somebody putting their hands on somebody. So let me just give that premise too. I don't know about that, and this is my very first StreamYard. You know what I'm
No problem.
saying?
Yeah.
But I just didn't want to go on like with things being said that maybe you're this, maybe you're that. I just want to be able to speak for myself. So the reason why I came that way with DDG watching the show is because of that. Number one, you just had a baby with this woman. You were in a relationship, you have a child, and then it's over that quickly. I just think that it could have been further evaluated if she wasn't your type. Like I did hear you say, women on the show are a little wild. On his show, if she wasn't his temperament, then I don't think that they should have created another broken home. That's first of all. Second of all,
Mhm.
watching the show with DDG and how he threw Holly under the bus, saying that she won't let me see my son. And I'm a regular watcher of the show, and I see him with his son every day. And he mentioned that, it's been a month. And again, I don't know these people. These people don't make me money, don't pay my bills. This is costing me time.
Mhm.
But I just came in. I just didn't want, you saying things about me, and, and I'm typing and chatting. So I want to speak for myself. But that did bother me to get on and say that she won't let me see my son. And I'm a regular watcher, dude. I see you with your son every day. I see how, you and Holly, you portray the family thing. So that was that. Um, and again, I do understand his career field. I do understand that he's around women and you can't be jealous presenting. You know what I mean? But
Mhm.
as far as a turn up, this is just as an observer from an observer standpoint in what I've seen. I've seen Holly standing up for DDG even when he was throwing her under the bus, even when he was sabotaging her rollout with the Little Mermaid. He's kind of been an in-house saboteur in a sense, and she's kind of stayed quiet. Now, do I think she's an angel? No, but I'm not invested in any of these people. Do I think she may have some turn up in her? Yes. But I also think about women on the whole and men as a whole. When it comes to relationships, it's different. Everybody's different when they're in a relationship. They don't act the same way. A love tap, in between couples may seem like something severe to you. Am I talking about abuse? No. But I'm talking about those little harmless arguments. There are different types of
Hold on.
relationships.
Try to
Yes.
for everybody here. Explain what do you mean a love tap?
Okay. Say for instance this. I'll give an example. Um I was dating somebody, and we were, hanging out, just relaxing. He was acting really weird, just a little off. We weren't arguing, but he was just kind of irritating, being annoying. So we parted ways, no argument, but he was being annoying. So the next day, he pulls me to the side. He says, "Listen, I want to apologize. I was a little tipsy. I'll make up for it." Now, was I, super offended? No, I just thought he was being a little off. But that's what I mean, where it's like you can't judge what people go
Wait,
through in
so
terms.
but
Yes,
you're
go ahead.
not being specific. So are
Right.
you saying like did he slap you? Because
Okay.
you keep saying
No,
like
no, no, no,
annoying.
no, 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 no. I'm not. No, I, by the grace of the Most High, and I'm very grateful for this. I've never been physically abused by a man that I'm with.
Mhm.
If it's like a high school, or excuse me, not high school, if it's an elementary school backyard fight, yeah, I probably tussled with, boys my age when I was much, much younger. But what I mean by that is, okay, I'll give you an example. I already gave the premise, I'm a Hebrew Israelite. So reading the Apocrypha, for example, there were, three wise men that presented their case to a king, and they said, "Listen, there's no one more powerful than a woman. You have men in your presence as a king that tremble at your feet. But look at the wife, your concubine by your side. She just knocked the crown off your head, and you smiled at her dotingly." So when I say love taps, that's what I mean. Like your woman, "Boy, get out of here," So you don't know what she means by, I start arguments. You know what I mean? To
But
maybe get attention, or is it a filler? Or if it's a filler for something else. But I'm not saying the extreme that she's causing problems in her household. No.
would that
I
not
just
be disrespectful to a man? And especially like the example that you gave that you're going to, let's say, knock the crown off of a king's head in front of people, in front of onlookers. Would that not be disrespectful?
Well, in the context, what he's saying is that This woman has you melting so much in the palm of her hands that men that would kill and die for you sit in your presence while she playfully knocks the crown off your head. He's not offended. Who's going to check him? He's a king. He's so enamored by this woman that he's wrapped in her presence. He's wrapped in her charm. So that's the context of it. It's not to say that it was even disrespectful to him or that she was being disrespectful. And that's what I mean by that. Like some couples may have a playful nature. I'm not talking about abuse. I'm not talking about somebody putting their hands on somebody. I'm not even, I don't even believe in emotional abuse. You know what I'm saying? Verbal abuse, let alone putting your hands on somebody, which some people can argue emotional abuse is more severe, but any form of abuse is not okay, obviously.
Mhm.
That's not what I'm talking about.
Uh, Okay, my main my main thing that I'm saying is this: if for me, if I'm out in public and
Mhm.
I got like my girlfriend or whatnot or whatever, and she decides to, and I'm in front of other people, and she decides to put her hand directly in my face or put a finger pushing my forehead directly back. As a man, I'm going to let you know that that is disrespectful. Not only are you showing the lack of value and respect that you have for me, but you're also dictating and showing that same thing to other people.
I can definitely hear where you're coming from on that. And I just think that when you visualize it with what I'm saying in terms of this, maybe I should give it a little bit more description. This scenario that I'm talking about with the king and his concubine, they were at a party. People are drinking, so they're having a good time, but the men around him are still mindful of what he is. But it's just to say that people's relationships may have playful aspects that we're not privy to. So I'm not talking about something that's disrespectful to you. Yes,
No, no, I'm
a
just saying in
a woman.
general. I'm talking
Well,
about in general as a man.
right.
If I am to see that in public, a woman, it could be his wife, whatnot, whatever, and she does something like I'm looking at them like, yo, she don't respect that man at all. I'm letting you know how men look at this.
Oh, and that's fine. Hey, I can respect that. But at the same time, you got to admit that when people are behind closed doors, things are different. They may have a different playful nature with one another. And I'm not talking about something that's harmful to somebody, either physically or mentally. So please don't put that in my mouth. But really, sometimes when it comes to the nuances in relationships, we can't dictate what's best for somebody else or what offends somebody else. For example, I'll tell you this: a man may want a woman because she's submissive, humble, and kind. Another man may get bored with a woman like that. He wants a woman that turns up a little bit. My thing is DDG, and I even hate saying his name because I don't know the brother. But so let me take him out of it for a minute. I know that's what the show is about, but imagine this: you got to know what type of woman you're getting with. And then on top of that, to turn around and have a child. Now this child has to be in between two homes. Now I will get back to the story and say he said that, well, I haven't seen my child in a month, which again, I watched the show. I was watching when he said that. And so I can't say that based on the streams. He dates them, he does them daily. But at the same time, when it's a broken home, it comes down to what do you expect? So I'm advocating for us to stop the broken homes, for men to stop whoremongering and then thinking it's okay. Well, you knew what you were getting into. This is a man that has a lot of women in his presence. Sure, okay, fine. But once you make that decision to consummate with a woman, you need to change the thinking, take it to a different level, and make it professional. But it just completely ended up with a broken home. And I think they were together during the whole streaming thing. I get that, but it's just the fact that and she stayed with him in that. But it's just like a wham bam, thank you, ma'am. Now I'm done. I saw, and again, this is why I put the for my argument. I saw how she took him to the Grammys. He said that he went with her on her dime, or on her fame and popularity. I saw when she took him to Paris Fashion Week. All of that was just 2 weeks before he said that she was being selfish with their child and keeping the child from him. So I mean, it's like, okay, so if that was an issue, why go to the red carpet Grammys with her? Why go to Paris Fashion Week with her? if this was an issue. So I just think that this is like
Uh,
a childish game to play
hold
on
on,
people's emotions.
because men are a little bit different. Because I'm
Okay.
not sure if you see the image directly in front of you where it says that
Yes.
Haley Bailey requests sole custody. Now, again, all of the problems that they're sitting up there having, DDG is not like, hey, I want like sole custody. I don't want you pretty much to not have anything to do. This is something primarily that women decide to do when they feel a certain type of way about a man or about a relationship that it's not going their way, that the guy might not be interested or he don't want nothing to do with them, but he want to sit up there and solely be with the kids. Women will use the child as a weapon. This is what you're looking at this moment in time. DDG did not want to sit up there and go to court over this. He was fine how everything basically was. Like, all right, you got your house, I got my house. We both share co-parenting directly with the child. We're all good. Halo's good. Everything is completely fine. Obviously not on her end. So now all of a sudden he's abusive. He left marks on her,
Okay.
chipped tooth, and all this other type of stuff. But I'm
Can
like,
I
so
say
you
that? Wait a minute. Hold on. Can I
okay?
say that? See, now I'm glad you brought that up because, like I said, I don't know about any abuse allegations. Like I said, I'm just a subscriber to the show,
Mhm.
new subscriber at that. So I saw FBA topics being discussed. I saw so I subscribed. I was down with that. I saw this live. I clicked on it. So I haven't heard it. I've been focusing on FBA issues all day. So I
Mhm.
have not heard anything about scratches, marks, or abuse. So
Oh, it's
please
up
let's
there.
make that clear.
If do you happen to have X or Twitter?
No, I don't have X. I try to keep I'm a businesswoman, so I can't be involved in too many social media. It takes up too much time. So it's pretty much YouTube. That's about it. So no, I do not. So I have not. This is your channel is the first. I think I saw maybe some headline, but I clicked on your live.
Well, much appreciation. If you happen to take the time, there are from TMZ. They have either pictures or whatnot of supposedly a chipped tooth. I guess they're trying to attribute that to DDG. Some type of faded looking area on, I guess, her arm that they're trying to say is a bruise left by DDG to basically further try to prove in allegations that, oh, DDG is abusive. This is how he decides to, treat her and all this other type of stuff. So that's
Oh,
why I'm mentioning, a lot of those things, because now it seems as though that if certain things were not going her way, that you're going to levy these allegations now, and it has now come to today where she's like, "Up, I want full custody."
okay.
Because
See
to me,
that.
it just seems like a case buildup now.
Okay, okay. Yeah, see that part I don't know, and I know that's the title of the show. I did not know that. I was just speaking on some of the things that have been circulating before, about, his last live when he talked about Halle, and for me, it just boils down to just, it's not okay to play around, to, lay with a woman, have sex with a woman, not even that, create another life and then expect the best outcome, as far as now that's what I mean by misogyny, is to have sex with a woman, create a life, create a broken home, and then still expect to be, to have everything go smoothly in your way, all while saying, well, my love life didn't take no hit, I'm straight. He says that constantly. I'm good, I'm good. So if she didn't mean that much to you to begin with, why go that far with
No,
her?
no, but you do realize that he's lying. Like a lot of dudes will sit up there
No,
and
no,
posture online. Hold on, hold on,
I
hold
didn't.
on. As a guy, hold on. A lot of dudes will sit up there because I've had breakups before, and dudes will sit up to ask me like, "Yo, you okay? You really loved her?" And all. I'm like, "No, no, I'm good. I'm good. It's whatever." That's what guys sit up there and do. We're going through the motions. We're still figuring stuff out. We were fully invested directly in a woman. It didn't sit up there and work out for whatever reason. So yeah, we're going to be a little bit hurt, broken, and trying to pick ourselves back up so that we can be what we were before. So DDG sitting up there saying this in public, yeah. But when you actually sit up there and like look at his face, you look at the things that he's doing, it's like, nah, that dude is hurt. So again, I'm trying to convey that directly to you as a man. Now, the other thing that you said, hold on, the other thing that you stated before, where you talk about the broken home and all this, I get that. And I do not disagree with you. Guys should have discernment and they should practice having protection and also, wanting to get married. And all. I 100% agree. But this is the other problem that I never happen to hear women really speak on. And I'm going to use my own instance. right? I had a previous relationship back in my younger years with a person that I fully loved, gave myself fully directly over to. No, we weren't married. No, we weren't engaged, but we had unprotected relations. And then inevitably, the person sat up and said, "Hey, guess what? This child is yours." I sitting up there being the guy, I'm like, yo, no woman is going to sit up there and lie to me. Like, obviously, like this is mine, da da da, all this other type of stuff. And long story short, had to do a DNA test and found out that that child was not mine. So yes, we do have guys out here that will, go in and out of different women and getting them pregnant. But at least for DDG, I only know of him getting one woman pregnant. So he has some type of discernment there. But on the other scale, we never happen to have women wanting to speak up when it deals with other women, just freely giving their bodies to any and everybody and deciding to list any guy randomly out there as the father, knowing the fact that he's not.
Whoredom is not okay, which means the woman. Whoremongering is not okay, which means the man. Excuse me, sir, brother. I did not mean to cuss on your show if that is a cuss word on the show, but
That's fine.
it's not okay either way. Practice abstinence. You know what I mean? It's just the topic of the show. I'm a viewer. I only get 5 minutes of fame here. So I can't talk about every single little thing, but it's not okay either way. And I will say this, and this is just being fair. I've DDG's short clips or whatever you call them, shorts with
Mhm.
his son warmed my heart. Those were some of my favorite videos of the day. You know what I mean? So I've seen him as a father. So I just want to say that because this is a new age, this is an internet. What you say on the internet is forever. So I
Yeah.
just want to premise that I love seeing that. Oh my, I'll say a clip in particular since I want to talk about this other stuff. I could talk about this. He had a clip where he was upset that his son wouldn't let him feed him. He said, "Man, you already walking. Now I can't feed you too. Let me feed you." So he's adorable with that. But I'm just speaking to the bigger picture. I don't know about the abuse. I did not, hear about that. I know that's what the show is about. Forgive me, but I'm just speaking to the bigger picture that it's not okay to throw each other away like that after making such a big commitment. And that's, that has to be on the side of the man, but also women too. But at the same time, if a woman leaves after making such a big commitment, at least the father can keep the child,
That
but if
that never happens.
what?
That so the one main thing that I don't think a lot of women actually understand is that guys in a sense really don't actually have rights when it deals with their kids.
Can I give another
Um
premise?
okay.
I My father raised me so, and it took hardly no effort for him to get custody. No effort. You
Mhm.
know, let me say this. You know how custody was determined with me? And this is the first time I've ever told, I don't know if I've ever told anybody this. Custody was determined when my dad looked at me and said, "You want to go with me or stay with your mama?" I said, "I want to go with you." That was custody.
So that was outside of the courts.
That was outside of the courts, in front of
Okay.
my mother, in front of him.
So
He
that
asked me
I'm pretty sure that was a while ago. And if
very
we
long
look, and
ago.
again, that was great. That's how that happened directly for you. But the fields of
Yes.
other men, including white men directly out here, that's not how it works. As soon as men go directly to those courts, they can even be in the military and they're not getting custody of that child. It don't matter if the mother is drugged out. They will still hand over full custody to that mother. And I'm like, huh? I'm like, so the father is able to feed, provide, put them in the best schools, shelter and protect them, give them the things that they need. But you're like, no, no, no. The mother is of the best interest of the child. But she can't provide any of the things that I listed that the father can. And this is how the court system works. The court system is literally built to separate the child from the father.
Well, I got to be honest with you. I can't confirm that yay or nay it's because a lot of, and this is, just anecdotal, really, but what I see is that just observing who fights for it, though. How many men really fight for the custody of their
Hold on, let
children
me get you real quick.
in
Hold
the
on,
court
right there.
system?
You said how many men
Yes.
fight, right? You
Yes.
don't find that to be crazy? That you're saying
Well,
that
yeah.
a parent that create as 50% of the DNA of that child, that a parent has to fight for their child.
Well, you're putting it in terms of a fight. You're the
No,
one
no,
that's
because that's
saying,
what it is.
so then don't get mad at me for using the word. I mean,
No,
the
no, I'm
thing
not mad
is,
at you for using the word, but I'm no, no, but I'm saying that it's crazy to have to put that in a sentence dealing with a parent. A parent automatically should have like ownership or 50% when it deals with the child because that is their child. That's 50% of their DNA. No parent should have to fight anybody else in order to see, get visitations, or be around their child. Like that sounds crazy.
exactly, but don't shoot the messenger. I agree. But I'm even going, before that, instead of being surface level, no disrespect, why are you having broken home families anyway? And I understand that things happen. They do. But I would really have to dig deep. I don't know the statistics on men that actually go to court to get their children and win versus those that go to court to get their children and don't. I don't know the terms, I don't know the levels. When you say they fight for their children and they lose, what do you mean they lose 50-50, or do they get weekend visitation? The thing is I we're in a position to where we're getting to a point in society, and we've been there for a long time, where it's hard to trust the courts for anything. But at the same time, I would have to really take an in-depth look as to how many men that create that are in broken home families,
Hmm.
active participants of it,
Hmm.
men and women. I would really have to look a little bit deeper into what's the numbers on that. Who's really going to do this thing, quote unquote, fight for their children, and who just lets it go and lets
So,
it slide and hopes for the best, or they don't want to be involved at all. They're happy with being
so
absentee parents. I mean, I don't know the
I
numbers
could
on
put it
that.
like this: as a person, and I say this all the time because I like to sit up and be honest. As a person that came from a single parent household, raised by my mother and everything like that, I felt as though that if I was with somebody and they had a child that I was going to accept the whole. Now, again, this is coming from a person that doesn't know a father. I've had to sit up there and do the cookie cutter and basically figure out what a father is and try to manage and go directly through that. So, by that interpretation, that's what I was going to deliver onto said child, depending on whatever relationship that I was in. But going through my situation, I would have basically had to fight. And I was the type of person that would be there every single day. I'm talking about like you got doctor's visits. I was there for the prenatal audit. I was there. Don't matter if it was bus, don't matter if it's taxi, whatnot, or whatever. I was there, or whatever other doctor's visits that you had. So I'm speaking on behalf of the guys who would actually be there, but again, never got a chance because they got robbed and they got lied directly to.
Mm. And I can see where that can be a deep source of pain. I'm gonna be honest with you. I know what it's like, and this is on a whole nother level, what you're saying. But I do know what it's like when people waste your time for years. But this is on a whole nother level because this is a child that you love, you try to help rear. So I'm not here to be unempathetic on that. But how many cases are like that? How many people in our family, okay? FBA, think long and hard. How many people in our family that your cousins, your nieces, your nephews, your sisters come from broken homes, your brothers come from broken homes, and the father was trying to fight for custody or was trying to get this through the court or get that through the court and couldn't? How many of our families and households where the mother would beg for the father to be a part of this child's life?
Mhm.
Come by, drop him something, bring him something, you know, give me a little something for him. And had to carry that load on their own. And this is, again, coming from somebody unbiased because I was raised by my father. But I'm not unempathetic to the plight of women in these broken homes. And from what I see, even so, I can only go by, I don't have the numbers, but from what I see, time and time, again and again, FBA I talked to. Well, I was the only, my mom had so many kids, and only one of the fathers stuck around. And here's the thing. I'm gonna go there. I'm gonna go there. I'm gonna go here. All right. I don't want to go here, but I'm gonna go here a little bit. You got, I'll give a brother for an example. He said he was one of 10. One of his brothers, his brother's dad, married his mom. Okay.
Mhm.
He called his mother a thought. He says she was a thought, and she was out there having sex with all kind of men. My aunt too. She was a thought too. And she finally wisened up and married and chose the man, and married my brother's father. And that's kind of who raised me. He was my stepdad. And I
Mhm.
said, could it be that she chose the man when the man chose her? She might have been seeking a husband. She probably wanted the father to stay in. I don't think any woman would go on a life or death mission in terms of having a child and not want the father by her side, or not want the father to be there to comfort her as she weans her child.
But hold on, but can we also admit that women don't have the best discernment when it comes to dealing with men and actually getting pregnant with them? Because again, living by example, I can sit up there and state that I've talked to many girls during high school and many women as an adult male and tried to tell them, like, yo, this is not the guy that you want to sit up there and be with. Don't sit up there and get pregnant by this guy again. Like, not even just me, but there's other men out here who have literally, including brothers, including fathers, that will literally dictate to these women out here, like, yo, this is not the guy that you want to sit up there and be with, all this other type of stuff. And for whatever reason, a lot of women tend not to listen. And then, oops, I'm pregnant. And then when that dude basically dips out, and we all told you that, hey, that dude is going to dip out on you. He's not going to be responsible. He's not going to be the father. He's not the man that you think he is. Guess who has to shoulder that burden? Now the father got to sit up there and raise another child that is not his. Now the brother got to sit up there and step up and be a brand new uncle at the age of like 12. Now you got some other random dude that may be interested. Now he got to pull up to the scene and be a stepfather, even though that's not his responsibility. Every other dude got to step up and take the place of that father, when specifically the men of the community told you what not to do and you opted to go against that. Like I said, I get that people want to sit up there and consistently blame men all the time, but nobody is passing the accountability, that same exact energy, to women. And like I said, I'm all for accountability. I'm all for responsibility and acceptance of that. I'm for an even playing field. So if we're going to sit up there and just strictly blame men, we need to be sitting up there putting that exact same energy towards women. And that's the main thing that I've been advocating for directly on this platform for the longest time possible. Also, by way of giving my own life experiences to what it is that I'm talking about.
Okay. And this is the place that I did not, that where I said I'm gonna go here, and I didn't want it, but what about, and I want to address what you said too, but this is what I was going to finish saying. You got also some women that are SA'd, that are very young, having these children. And again, I'm not trying to throw black people under the bus. We're
You have young
ingenuitive.
black boys that go through the exact
Yes,
same thing
yes,
too, and
yes,
they
yes.
talk about it and they get laughed about in the community by
No,
both
and I
men
don't
and
agree with
women.
that. I don't
You got
agree with that.
30-year-old women in the black community who go after 13 and 7-year-old boys. I've done stories directly on that.
I don't
You have
agree
those
with any
same
of
young
that.
boys that are also hypersexualized too, just the
Yes,
same way as the young
yes,
black girls and the black women directly out here.
yes, yes. And let me just say this. I'm a psychologist, so I don't agree with the abuse of anybody in any way. But here I am from the stance of, I do believe this, and this is by the Most High's design, is that men are the leaders. So by me, maybe kind of being a little bit more leaning on them being accountable, that's an honor, because I don't look to anybody else to be accountable if you're not a leader. I'm not
Mhm.
going to the second in charge and asking you to be accountable. I'm coming to my leaders and employ and beseeching them, because they're the heads.
Okay.
That's the reason why. The crown is on your head. It's on all of ours, but by design. And some people may or may not agree with that. I get it. Black people are powerful. Black women are powerful. Listen, black women amaze me. I have never been so amazed by any other species of people as I am of Black women. I'm gonna be serious. And that's a whole other issue. That's a whole nother thing. But, in terms of what you said, we've had people in the community tell the sister, don't do this, don't do that. But let me ask you this. What example did she have coming from her father? Maybe she's seeking the same thing in her father, or is seeking the same man from the treatment she got from her father. We have to look a little bit deeper. It's sometimes hard to see the solution when you're going through the pain.
So, question. So, would we also levy that same excuse for black men?
I'm not giving anybody an excuse.
No, no.
Okay.
I'm
And
just saying. I'm just saying. If we're going to say that black women go through this pain, and yes, we do. Statistically, we know within the black community, you have a lot of black girls, a lot of black women that go through these types of things, either by way of
mhm.
family or friends of the family, or even outside sources such as strangers or whatnot or whatever. But are we going to also levy that exact same example to black men for the way that it is that they tend to react when it deals with black women? It seems as though that we don't do that. We don't give black men that exact same grace, even if they went through the exact same pain that black women went through.
But here's my thing. Do you want the grace? Do you want the grace, or do
Is
you
that
want to
is
put
that
that?
not deserving?
Well, hold on, hold on. But okay, but do you want it though? Or do you want to continue creating broken homes and relish in the deeds of the past? Because again, we're talking about, well, I guess this subject has switched quite quickly to just broken homes in general. You know what I mean? So it's like, why continue to perpetuate the brokenness when you want grace from it? When you want people to give you empathy for it. You know what I mean? You still have women that, although they are having children, with these men, they're still seeking the marriage like relationship. You can't
From the
tell me
wrong
how,
guys
with the wrong guys, but we've just established
on
that there's
purpose.
reasons behind it. Maybe, maybe we all can use a little,
So,
relationship coaching and training.
all right, so let me just make it as equal as possible. So the main thing I like to sit up there and tell people, of course, is that hurt people. But if you have broken people, they're going to also happen upon other broken people, which then is going to make a broken situation. So a lot of those people that you're talking about are broken. Those are the people that should be seeking therapy and doing this and doing that. Now, in front of that whole situation, which a lot of us tend not to pay attention to, are the actual positive and good relationships directly out there. Case in point, I'm pretty sure you know of the great honorable minister Louis Farrakhan.
Hmm.
That is a great man who has taught, raised the nation. Millions of people, got people directly off of drugs, directly out of the streets, sat up there and educated them a variety of different ways. That is a great man, and his work speaks directly for itself. But yet, as you stated before, that men are the leader, I don't see fields of black women going to the honorable minister to become better women. If men are supposed to be the kings, if men are supposed to be the leaders, I don't see tons of women from the black community flocking to the honorable minister who has already proven what it is that he is able to do. I don't see them flocking to him to become better.
Okay, two things. And again, I didn't mean to turn this into a debate. My whole thing was just to get up here and speak for myself, because you were saying some things and I didn't want to be blindsided, but just a couple things to that.
No problem.
Can you agree that, two things though, now before you answer, can you agree that there is broken trust? That if we're talking about these issues, absentee, you know, fathers, which, again, broken homes, that's usually, like I said, women having children, that's the last thing you want, is the father gone from the home. I mean, women will attest, after they have a baby, they need the man there, not to be abusive or harmful, but just in a loving way. So, can you agree that there's a level of broken trust as far as going to the minister, and maybe not everybody has the same beliefs that he has, and that what outreach, what national outreach for women has he put out there to say that you can even go to him, to what has he levied for the black women to even see him as the one to go to? So number one, would you agree that there's broken trust based off of everything that we said? And number two, like I said, what initiative has he put out for Black women to specifically say, you all come to me, and this is only one man? Again, we have responsible, and I'll land here and let you respond, but we have responsible Black men in the community, but it's only how it's one or two or a few. How many women can one woman handle, one good man handle? And I understand based off of scripture it's 7 to every one, but understand it gets a little bit crowded. So he didn't have an initiative for Black women, but you want him to go to this person, and he's one man. So there's broken trust, and then where's there been an outreach for that from him, being that he's one man?
Okay. So the honorable minister has spoken directly to the Black community in general. And in one, at least, clip that I have where he and many brothers went directly to Chicago to specifically talk to the women, pointing out the fact that there is a lack of protection. There's things that go on in home, meaning by way of essay and many things of that nature, how those things need to be corrected so that that is no longer a issue or any type of common occurrence. He's spoken on a great deal of many topics, offering people like, hey, if you come, directly to us, we can help out with these situations. If you follow our lead and the things that we tell you, we can make these things specifically better for you. You also have the other side of the Nation of Islam where you have the women. Those would be, I'm guessing, the main ones that would help teach the young girls or the women to become better women. And on the other side of the aisle, you would have the men who are there that will detail the protection, the value, and the trust. And you have both of those sides coming directly together to formulate that nation. Now, there may be a little bit of more things intricate things that I might be missing directly from, because again, I'm not of the Nation of Islam, but I love what it is that they are doing and how it is that they have those in the Black community, the sum that they have there together, loving, respecting, valuing, building, and formulating that type of bond of which other people, other Black people out here could look at and be like, yo, they actually, that's a lot different from what I'm seeing in my community. That's a lot different from what I'm seeing or getting from my friends and my family and my community. Like, yo, I want to, sit up there and, see what's over there. Right. They have a very good, presentation. They have a very good, track record and thing. Let me go directly over there and see if I can learn a little bit of something versus what I'm seeing directly in the street, versus what I'm seeing directly from, quote unquote, the standard issue broken home, or what it is that I'm learning directly off of mainstream media or directly from my friends. Let me go over here and see what's happening. That's what I was saying, that the actions are proved on how it is that he basically moves, his teachings and everything of that sort. Now, the other thing that you mentioned when it dealt with a broken trust, I would simply say that that trust is just broken all over. I'm talking about both men and women. I'm not just trying to levy this specifically. Everything is pretty much the man's fault. It's like, nah, like that to me, whenever I happen to hear people say that, that's a little bit crazy, because I, as a man, and I've told people this directly on my platform before, I'm like, hey, I'm going to hold my hand up. If Black women are telling me like, yo, I got to hold this L, I got both hands open. So I'm holding two L's,
And
no
let me be
problem.
clear. I don't mean to interrupt, but I haven't said that. I haven't blamed one person in particular. I'm leaning, because I know who's the head. I get that part, but I haven't blamed one person in particular. I'm just, speaking on the subject, but I
Mhm.
apologize.
No problem, no problem. But I'm saying, like, even from the instance of being on my own platform, I've had Black women directly come to me, either in the comment sections or in other instances of lives that I've done, and specifically say that, yo, Seji, you are at fault for the reason that we got the crime and other stuff going on in the family, these broken homes, because you're doing nothing but enabling these Black men. I'm like, that's crazy that I, as one person, have to sit up there and hold up both of these L's as if I am the sole contributor to all the things going on. I've never even created a broken home at all. I've tried to sit up there and help fix and heal one, but I've never sat up there and literally created one. at all. Nobody out here can sit up. Yo, says this is basically no, you can't. Like DNA wise, we can sit up there and go directly back there, and it'll sit up and say no. Shout out to Murray. Maury, you are not the father. So it's like it's crazy to me to hear those types of things levied every single time when it deals with black men. Black men are made to always be accountable for everything that is wrong. We're never allowed, or it's not even anything pushed. Like, okay, yo, black men sitting up here doing a good. No, no, no. It's always the negative. Now, when good things happen, it's levied towards black women. Solely black women. It's like, oh, this business creation, this, that, and the third. How the community is looking. Black men get the negative. Black women happen to get the positive. So it's
Mhm.
like uh I'm not exactly sure how people want black men to feel, and this is a
Mhm.
consistent thing that we happen to hear and see every single day by way of black women talking on social media, by way of X or IG, TikTok, YouTube, or whatever it is. But you're gonna have a lot of black men that are going to feel a certain type of way directly about that because we only get seen as the negative. We're never seen as anything positive. So going back to the trust thing, it's like for me, I don't see how the trust is broken when a lot of black women have said that black men are not providers. You are not caring. You're not loving. Individuals. You don't sit up there and protect. So I'm like, what trust is there?
So
You
that's
can't.
how the trust is broken. If those are the lists, and I didn't mean to cut you off, but I wanted to insert that right there because you were describing it. If they're if they're making it known, these are my grievances towards you.
Uh-huh.
My head, my king. I don't use those types of words, but at the same time, hey, let me pass you my list of complaints. And let's not act like it, again, excuse my, I don't mean to sound super hype, but we also have had a largely male identified society as well in the Black community where men come first. We have to be concerned about their needs first. Where the only issues that we handle in the Black community are what men face, and sometimes, which I congratulate channels like yours that bring up issues dealing with women, probably one of the main reasons I subscribe, because that's the reason why the trust is broken. And we as a people maybe should stop taking things so personal because we've endured this for so long from each other. But again, I have to say, Black women, when I look around at my family, other families,
Hmm.
they're the ones that are heading these single parent households. And I gotta really, I'm leaning on the sides of that wasn't by choice most of the time. But after so long of enduring a hardship, there does come a sense of resentment. There does come a sense of maybe a different set of tone, but is what they're saying accurate? Are these some of the things that your mother faced? Now, not you personally, but just thinking in general,
Okay.
being realistic about our lives. And can I just, say this,
Mhm.
that sometimes we live in echo chambers, because I laughed when you talk about, how women get all the accolades and they're business owners and they're this and that. And I said, I, entered the call and said, well, I'm a businesswoman, so I don't do. So that was funny. And then you called me a modern woman. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
So that modern woman was supposed to be aimed at an insult. You threw that out there immediately. When I was
No,
talking
I'm
about the
going by
story,
the
you
the
called
modern.
me a modern woman. So just like you say that you men, they feel attacked, they all of these arguments are levied against them. There was a narrative of us, saying that men uphold the community. It's only just recently that we started to acknowledge our sisters as business owners and as leaders, and started to change the narrative to being positive for them.
That's
Because
not true because you
before,
had the Black Panther Party. There were black
ex-
women like that were front and center.
yes, that's what I'm saying.
So this is not the first time. The civil
Yes,
rights era.
please.
This is not the first time.
No, it's not. As our men went behind bars, we continue to hold that down. You know what I mean? But we do have a tendency to give men accolades, and we kind of have neglected ourselves. Think about it. We call Black women baby mamas instead of saying there's an absentee father. You know what I'm saying? The whole narrative sometimes in the Black community is lean towards negativity towards a woman. And I would argue, and again, this is just all anecdotal, but I would argue that Black women came out and started saying these things in their little corners because of what was being thrown at them. There's a whole manosphere passport, bro, movement specifically against Black women, calling them, saying they hit the wall if they're 40, blaming them for raising,
Well,
the
you do know,
children
like,
that
the
will let you.
passport, like, the men going on like, all of that was started first by, like, white
But
men.
come on, no, I'm not talking about them. I'm
No,
really
but I'm
not.
saying, like,
I don't want to
how
go
are we
there,
gonna but what I'm
but
saying is, how are we
you
gonna
see
sit up
that
there and
I
say, like, the passport movement, the Black men are basically the
no,
face?
I'm, huh? Say that again.
No, I'm saying, like, how are we gonna try to say that the passport movement is basically face-wise Black men?
I didn't even say anything like that. I don't know face wise. I don't care about face wise. What I'm talking about, okay, Black men have become involved in this movement, but they've turned it into something different. Let's go there then. White
Okay.
men, yes, they have had mail order brides, yes. But did you see them levying hate on public platforms against their own women for it? They usually take their mail order brides and go home and enjoy their mail order brides. And this is no disrespect to that. You know what I'm saying? That's why I don't want to go there. I deal with FBA specifically. I don't talk on that. I don't feel like we should. I believe we need to separate from causes that don't involve us. But
Mhm.
I'm talking about what we've taken. There has been a movement levied against Black women. So what I'm saying is, can we assert that Black women are doing what they do as a reaction to that? So again, I don't mean to loop in a point here, but the only thing I'm trying to say is that the same way that you say, hey, it's so much negativity against Black men, I was called without I'm just trying to stick to the subject of
Yeah.
this gentleman on the screen here. I was called a modern woman, which was an insult. I'm part of the problem. I'm argumentative. All of those things that you levy, it rapid fire, spit fire. You know what I mean? That is what's on the tip of our tongue in the Black community, and I just think we need to stop it. Black women can say the same exact thing with and us being recognized now after our push and our fight. That's recent. Us being recognized now, we're having to overly do it. If it's not colorism, and you see how dark I am, if it's not colorism that's being levied against us, it's ageism. If it's not
So
ageism, you're being policed for your attitude, your hair,
so question,
anything.
are you able to
Yes.
read the comments that you see in front of you?
Uh-oh. Who is this? What is this I'm looking at?
That's directly from X because primarily one of the main things, on top of talking about interracial dating and how it is that both Black men and Black women talk directly online, I happen to highlight the fact of, you see a lot of Black women really highlighting the fact of how great white men directly are.
Uh-huh. Okay.
So
And so
going,
yes. Mm-hmm. Yes. So Black women levying how great white men are. Like I said, I think that we need to separate from issues and from racial groups. I think that in terms of our main focus and our dealings politically, I think that right now we need to keep things in house. But if you are one of the types of people that you want to marry another race, I say do that and enjoy yourself. Stop looking back. Stop spreading toxic poison, demeaning people in our racial group, and that's man or woman. Black woman or Black man. Don't look back. Keep going that way and don't look back. Neither for support if something goes wrong in that community that you chose to desert or divest to. Now, I will say this. we see commonly more so than Black women here and there, yes, but in science, and I mentioned I'm a psychologist, we don't weigh matters out in the way of, oh, a few of them do it, so now we need to blast the whole group. We look at things in terms of significance. Black men significantly had the charge of slurs against Black women. And so again, I'm
Huh?
saying that we can get into these echo chambers where it seems
Wait,
like
what slurs? Hold on, now I'm a
I
little bit
know
confused because I'm a black man. Obviously, I
there's
need to be
difference.
educated.
Okay. If here we go. If you're the colorism, okay? If you're 40, and again, I don't mean slur. Maybe I should look up the word, but English is subjective sometimes anyway.
Wait a minute. So we're talking about,
I'm not
so
talking
people
about
got
a racial
preferences.
slur. I'm not
So
talking about a racial slur.
no,
I'm
but
not
you're
talking
listing
about
preferences though. So
no, no, no,
if
no,
hold on,
no,
listen
no,
to me.
no, no,
Hold on,
no, no.
hold on, listen to me. Hold on, listen to me. Listen to me. Hear me out. I've literally sat up there and seen a light skinned, even though skinned is not a word, light skinned black girl back when I was at elementary school, literally talked to one of my classmates and said that you are not attractive because your nose is too large. That she specifically wants to date a guy that has nice wavy hair, nothing coarse or no type of afro, nothing like that. Got to be light skinned and have light eyes. So when I hear young girls and also black women say stuff like that, I don't be like, oh, y'all just like colorists, y'all like texturists and all this. You don't actually like black features. I'm like, all right, you got a preference, no problem, cool. That's how a lot of black dudes tend to sit up there and move. Now, when black women happen to hear black guys saying the exact same things that we've been hearing since elementary school, on the block, we're not, or whatever, now it's this whole thing of like, oh, you hate your mother. You hate black women. You hate the female ancestors. You hate your grandmother. I'm like, how does that even sit up and work? Because I've never set up and told a black woman that, regardless of how it is that she decided to dictate to me that I was unattractive to her because of my hair, my skin tone, my nose, or whatever.
Can I answer that?
No problem.
Okay. I think that we're comparing two totally different things. She said, "Hey, I want a guy." She said, "I want a guy with a smaller nose." What you have happening in our community is, "I don't like dark-skinned women and you shouldn't either. Light-skinned women are better in general."
Black
Or
women do that.
wait a minute, come on now. "I don't want a black woman and you shouldn't either. These white women are better." That's a problem. That's a problem, and a healthy community can't sustain under rhetoric like that. So we're talking about little drops in the buckets here and there. Yeah, they're going to be what they say, bad actors. Yes, there will be in every racial group, but I'm talking about a mass exodus of 20 to 25%, and it's not as if, like I said, they leave and don't look back, which I'm all for that, please, because we don't need any more emotional trauma added to our community, any emotional stress or strain. But what I'm saying is, when you don't leave and you want to keep it in our face and then tell us that this is better, this is what you should be doing too. Leave that 40-year-old, leave that dark skin, leave black women. This is better, and you want to, I want a baby with that looks like this. I want to wipe my family out. That's different. That's different. Those are two totally different things.
But
And
everything that you just listed, again, I'm not disagreeing. It is negative. It is bad. It should not be happening. I've spoke about that before. But again, me trying to make everything an even playing field. Everything that you've listed, I've literally heard black women and black girls sit up and say those exact same things. Oh, leave. I've even highlighted those comments and videos of black women that got biracial kids, and they sitting up there like, "Oh, look at how pretty my kid is." Da 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 da. This would have
well,
never set up there
here's
and
the
happened.
thing. I just want to say this.
Mhm.
It's just to the point that I'm arguing anecdotally, okay? If that's even a word, that it's largely reactionary. We don't have on this side a rate of 20 to 25% of marrying out. So while we talk it, like you just told me in the beginning, hey, He talked that stuff that he doesn't miss her, but he really does. While we talk it, eventually that's the result you're going to get after constantly beating on these women. What are you going to expect to come out of that? How many of us can think back to their childhood at the men that were manospheric in mentality, but we didn't have a name for it yet? That would downgrade women. How many of us can recall that? Now, I know there may be a lot of hurt from our childhood. There may be, but we need to start to separate and really open our eyes here to what's going on, and I, again, like I said, women can see the hate significantly, and maybe men see some speckled in here and there. Maybe it's different than what they're used to, because we have largely praised them in our community. Where do you know of any race of people where the women would be degraded for being single parents instead of being given a Medal of Honor for upholding the Black family? Good, black, bad, or indifferent, they hung in there. While men were,
Asian women are degraded for being single mothers, and they're
okay, I'm
actually
not
told to.
talking about them, brother. Okay, I
You
can't,
said
because
where?
that's not me. That's not me. Okay, well, no, you said, I did say any racial. I did say
Yeah,
that.
you told me where, so I'm following what it is that you stated.
I did say that. You're right. You're right. You're right. You're right. You're right. You're right. I said that. You're right. I did say that. But at the same time, what I'm saying is, I believe, this is my belief now, that Black women are marrying out because they feel like they don't, have those options there. 25% is a lot. That's a number that'll only increase with time.
No, I got you with the numbers.
And,
By
and
20
unless
by
it's seriously
2045, by
unless it's
2045, they
yeah.
said that the women on the planet are 50% of the women on the planet are going to be single, and that's just in general.
No, no, no. I meant 20 to 25% of Black men marry out. That's
Okay, I
what
got
I've
you.
been saying when I say 20 to 25% is a lot. So the reason why, and that's what I'm saying, where I question if what Black women are doing is more reactionary in terms of marrying out, in terms of this rhetoric that you see on your screen here. Because what do you expect people to do when you constantly beat at them? How do you think they're going to respond, with roses and gifts? I don't think that
Question.
Black women ever got their flowers for being single parent households. They were largely ostracized for it.
Wait, so the sons, because I'm a son of a single parent
Yes.
mother.
Yes,
So
sir.
you're saying that the sons don't sit up there and give their mothers their flowers? Because I see it in the NFL, I see it
Okay.
in the NBA, where the guys, I even see it with the rappers.
Okay. So you don't think that, these spaces that you're in, you haven't seen any negative feedback going towards Black women for single parent
No, yes,
households.
you have dummies there. Yes, 100%. Yes, you
And
have dummies
that's just
there.
my that, baby mama, all of that and all
But
of
hold
that.
on,
Like,
but hold on. But the problem is, just like with my platform, I've had fields of Black women come directly here and say that I was a Black female hating platform, and this, that, and the third. When
oh,
a lot of the moderators that I have here are Black women. A lot of the moderators that I have here are Black women. On top of the fact that I've literally pointed Black women to videos of other Black women who knew things about self-defense, gun training, and everything like that. Because I'm like, hey, if you don't got men specifically in your family, or you're not like intimate or whatnot, whatever, you still need to learn how to protect yourself, so that if somebody comes into your house at 3 a.m., you're going to be the one that's sitting in front of a jury instead of being 6 feet down. It's like I've covered a variety of videos, irregardless of the types of rhetoric or hatred that I just so happen to get from women directly on social media. And also, I've also tried to create videos to give Black women those flowers. They might be a single parent household. Women might have twins. It was a woman that I followed directly on IG. She sat up there and created her own corporation, and then from that, she's also empowering other single mothers as well to do the exact same thing in many other videos and things of that nature. Even some of my moderators, one of which, Tonda, sat up there and gave her flowers. Gail gave her flowers. Katara, another one of my moderators, gave her flowers, and some other Black women that I know of that have kids that are doing it pretty much themselves without the help of any men directly out here. So it's like I feel as though that if people want to see negativity, like how you were able to list everything negative that black men do. Usually when that happens and you try to ask people, all right, now list me 50 positive things that black men have done for black women, it's nothing. Like nobody's listening to anything. People can easily ramble off all of the negative things that black men do, but it's very hard for people to list the positive things. Just like on my
Well,
platform, I've created a video to showcase the different types of colors, hair textures, shapes, and sizes of black women. And that song was going by Kiss from a Rose by Seal. And even with that video, I still had problems where black women wanted to show up and still say something negative about me.
that's
So if people want
online.
to see, no,
That's
no, but
online, brother.
no. But I'm saying also in real life as well too. You have black men that are out here doing the things that they're supposed to be doing, buying, going out there taking a black woman out to eat or to dinner, sitting up there just going for walks, spending time with the kids in different. Like I said, in real life, I got my boy Jarrell. He is a single parent. He is raising his son because his mother did not want the child. And a lot of black women wouldn't be saying nothing about, oh, so single, oh, no problem. But billions of black women have sat up there and done that. So just to excuse or to try to slight what it is that a black man is sitting up there doing, it's not important because black women are already doing it.
Well, okay. Well, I'll let you have your opinion and how you feel about that. I'm not trying to tick for tat or tack for tick, how they say tit for tat, tat for tit. I'm not trying to do that. I have mentioned, positive things. I said, one of some of my favorite videos was seeing the warmthness of, I even said was seeing the warmthness of DDG and his son because that was the original topic. I even said one of the reasons I subscribed to your channel is, because you talk about black women issues. I said that.
No,
I
no, I
said
heard
that.
you.
You know what I mean? So here's the thing, it's sometimes and then, so you mentioned though that we talked about the lack of trust. And so let me just give a couple little random tidbits. Sometimes we hear what we want to hear. We have both thrown shots at each other. Sometimes I feel like the shots that black women take are more so reactionary. And and then also I forgot what I was going to say, but again, I'm just trying to say that like we do need to kind of keep this thing going. It's not as if think about FBA and our journey here in America. It's not like we could have stopped in the 50s. We still continue on our fight to this day. So if we just like we talked about there's broken trust, do you think that it's going to take a year for that to fix? 10 years for that to fix? How many people in your generation do you remember having broken relationships? How many generations back? So how much longer do you think it's going to take to fix it? I think if black men, in terms of you saying that, hey, we're always blamed, continue the fight, be consistent because black women have been in the trenches for that long. Do you think they're just going to forget about that after a year if trauma is passed down through DNA at least 7 generations back? No. And we have and as a man, I'm sorry. And as a woman, sometimes I gotta take stuff on the chin. I had to sit here, for example, I was being dragged in your comments, blocked and everything. You know what I mean? But you get up, you have an understanding. So sometimes you can fight fire with fire. Sometimes it's not the best idea, especially being a leader. Sometimes you have to fight ignorance with compassion. Sometimes you have to fight the surface level stuff that's on the screen with a deeper level of understanding about what's really going on and what's behind it. Just like you told me to look deeper with DDG and his hurt. If black men really want to do this leadership thing, if you really want to be the head, you're going to have to look deeper and evaluate the hurt a little bit more than just taking it at surface level, especially being a leader. You got to be the doctor, you got to be the lawyer, you got to be the therapist. That's a heavy role. And in
But
my
you
opinion,
you got black men that do that though.
okay, that's fine. Okay, so then, okay, so I guess black women go find them. They out there, girl.
No, because
It's is
what
it
I'm saying
enough?
is
Is it
no.
enough?
Hold on. Okay, I got you. So, right, you said, is it enough? It's
Is it
obviously
enough?
enough. It's obviously enough. Bad, emotionally not conscious black men for black women to get pregnant by. because I've never
Okay.
seen black women
Okay.
out here complain about getting impregnated by a geek,
Okay.
getting impregnated by a nerd, getting
Okay.
impregnated by a guy who wants to actually be there and be the father. It seems as though that it ends up being the wrong types of guys, just like vice versa. It seems as though that you got guys out here that seemingly get the wrong types of women pregnant every single time, that are either gold diggers, that's going to sit up there and trap them, that's doing this, that's doing that. And my main thing, that looking from the lens of being a guy, just being a normal guy, is that at least from the angle of being a guy, I consistently see women going after the wrong guys. Even like I said, I've seen fathers try to tell their daughters, not even try, actually telling their daughters, like, "Yo, I don't want you messing around with this dude. XYZ reasons. This is why. I know I am a man. I've been through all of this. I can see directly through him." The daughters will be like, whatever, dad. Still sit up there and date him, get pregnant. You'll have male best friends that care very deeply for that woman, but the only reason that he's not with that woman is because, like, oh, you're corny, you're boring. I'm going to just sit up there and put you on the friend zone list,
Can I say
while
this
I
too?
sit up there and mess around with all of these other guys that pretty much are not good for me, but I'm going to end up having 6, 7, 8 kids, and then I'm going to come right back to you, who I friend zoned it, in order for you to console and to, tell me that it's okay.
Say this too. Because as a woman, and I hear where you're coming from on that. That can be very hurtful for anybody. But can I say this too as a couple things I want to say. And it's a backtrack on a point that you made. But this is a teachable moment for me, as a woman, to say this, as you told me, a teachable moment, as a man. Hey, he don't really mean that, he hurt, which I tend to believe what people say. But okay, that's you thinking deeper. I can't be mad at that. I'm asking you to do it. But at the same time, who hasn't been through that? Why take it to the deep extreme? Like I said, stop taking it too personal, because everybody has to learn and grow. Afford humans that right. Of course, people, you got women that start dating in their teens. Is their mind fully developed though? That doesn't usually happen until you're about 25, 30. Some would even argue 40. Me over here. So that's gonna happen in life. And again, we, in a westernized culture, we're taught that type of fragility. We're taught the type of fragility that if you're rejected, it's the end of the world. Or we're taught that type of fragility that, if you don't get your way, that comes from, think about the mentality of the enslaver to the enslaved. Tell them no on one thing, and it's all held and broke loose. So again, these are extreme cases where you're like, listen, children are going to do that. I mean, doesn't everybody have a right to grow and learn? Don't we all get to a point in life where, yeah, I wish I would have did that, but I'm wiser now. I mean, does that mean that this person should be alone the rest of their lives or in a trap? Why give somebody a death
What?
sentence?
Wait. Hold on. Look, that was a very good point. You said, "Does that mean that somebody deserves to be alone for the rest of their life?"
Yes.
I'm going to have a very different opinion as a
And wait
man.
a minute,
Hold on.
wait, and let me explain what I mean by that, because you got that, so you can hold that thought, because you got what I said. What I mean by that is, say for instance, they have a child. As a mom, does that mean that she, oh, don't marry her because she was, you got this thing that people talk about, body count, and you know what I mean? Things like that, where we're all learning, we're all growing. Like we talked about deeper levels than this, where women get SA'd, and that triggers a whole thing where now they've been activated young, so now they don't know what to do with their bodies, so now they're perpetuating the abuse on themselves, sleeping with this one, that one. And sometimes, people in the family, you got, and again, not throwing our folks under the bus. I think that we're some of the most prestigious, and we're beautiful people. But if you got somebody that comes from a home that maybe they were traumatized, mistreated, abused emotionally, that they may not listen to that kind of reason. Usually people are going to go after what it is that they've grown used to. And so what we do as a people, we determine that those that have sound mind and judgment, You can't expect an intellectual answer from a lame. If you know somebody's coming from a type of background, give that person love. Don't take the nay nay. Leave it alone.
So okay. So
You
the
know
whole
what I
go,
mean, though?
hold
Like,
on.
don't
So
take it. If
so
she's
going back
been,
to the hold on. So going
yep,
back to the part where you said like, does that mean that somebody needs to be alone? If
yeah.
emotionally, if you are as a person, if you are already been broken, been through a whole bunch of broken relationships, you are jaded as a person. Yes, you
No
stay
rehab.
alone. Hold
No
on,
rehab for them. No
hold on,
rehab for them. Right?
hold on. Listen. As a person, case in point, I like to sit up there and use myself as an example. As a person that has been through a lot of stuff, like, yo, you should sit up there and take out time to manage and be with this. A therapist can only do so much. You're the only person that can actually do the real work. And that's a fact. Therapy can just list and throw some topics out there. A therapist cannot do the internal work for you. A therapist cannot sit up there and love you more than you can love yourself. A therapist or nobody else can respect you or value more than you value yourself. This is why whenever those things are actually added by other people and those other people are excommunicado or directly sliced off from that person's life, that person is now empty. Why? Because they did not do the necessary work that they needed to do on themselves in order to bring that value up to where it should have been.
Well,
So if you are a type of person that is broken, yes, you need to sit up there and be by yourself.
but
Because
see,
if you're a broken person and you get with a good person, you're going to throw those shards and that jadedness into that good and broken person that is undeserving. That person could already be at 100% respect, value, and love themselves. Anything that you give to them is just an addition, and they're accepting of that. They're fine with that. But if you're a broken person getting with a unbroken person, you're going to do immeasurable harm to that person, and then that harm that you just did to that person is going to carry over to like 9 other people that they come in contact with. So yes, you need to sit up there and stay by yourself. Yes.
okay. Well,
And
I'm
hold
not.
on. And also the thing dealing with kids, when you
Mhm.
were saying that should a person basically stay by themselves, my mom, for the longest time possible, being a single parent, my mom was not going out here dating and seeing guys because she specifically stated that she did not want anything to happen to me at all. Nor did she want me to have the viewpoint of seeing men coming in and out of the house as a revolving door. She
Mhm.
specifically stated that because she knew that, hey, there's a potential chance that if I allow this guy in here that I don't know or that I may like, that doesn't mean that it's going to fare well for you, because I
Mhm.
might not be fully aware or paying attention or whatnot or whatever might be in my own world. And then you're basically here. Now you got to deal with the situation. My mom was observant enough to understand that and sacrifice that whole thing of being by herself so that I could be raised without having, a lot of those other things that people tend to talk about when it deals with the random boyfriend coming directly over. Even when it dealt with young women that I knew, I specifically told them, I'm like, yo, you are a woman. If you were just doing it by yourself, it's cool. But you're a woman that got a baby carriage and everything. And I'm meeting you for the first time. Like, yo, do you understand how dangerous this is? I'm like, yo, I could be like a serial killer. I could be anything directly out here. Never at a point in time should you ever sacrifice the well being of your child for the happiness of yourself. That is 1000% selfish. And I've spoken on that 99 different times on this platform because I continuously see black women doing that, knowing that the end result could potentially be the harm of their child. And then
Okay.
who's going to sit up there and take responsibility for that? Nobody. We already know that the guy was bad, but who else is going to take responsibility? Nobody.
Well, can I say this, that
Yeah.
I don't think that isolation is.
Wait, hold on. Wait. If you're talking, we cannot hear you. I'm not sure if it might be your connection. I think it might be her connection. Wait, can you? I'm not sure if she's able to. Hold on. If you're talking right now, I can't. We can't hear you on the stream. Just want to let you know, can't hear you because I don't want you to get like a whole point out and then we weren't able to hear what it is that you're saying. Hold on. Let me see. Let me see if I can just pull that up so she can see it. Okay, I guess she might have had a connection issue. All right, so you should be able to roll back directly in there. Okay, there we go. Let me see.
Uh, I just want to
Okay, there we
say,
go.
yes. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
All right. To what you said, I don't think that isolation is a bad thing. I don't think self reflection is a bad thing. I think that your mom absolutely did the right thing. It's one of the reasons why I advocate that if there has to be a broken home, a lot of people may not agree. I think the child should go with the father because he if the man has the strength, he should be the one to protect that child because it can be very heavy on a woman to not only rear the child, take care of things in the household, but also to have to protect the child and look over her shoulder every moment, go to the school, stand up against men, principals, things like that. Not a good look. So the fact that your mom, did that, kept you protected and safe, you know, I commend that. That takes a huge sacrifice. My dad was the same way. I didn't see women coming in and out. I didn't see women coming in and out.
Hmm.
But I think we're comparing apples to oranges because what we started, what got us here was what I said, what made me say, don't people get a chance to learn and grow? Do they have to be alone the rest of their lives? Have anything to do with hurt people, hurting people? What you said was that it's people in the community, cousins, best friends, brothers that advise these women not to go with certain men and they do it anyway and they end up with and they end up being a single mom, in a single parent household. I said, don't people deserve a second chance? That's what I meant. Don't people deserve to, when you say, well, oh well, they make, don't we all make mistakes? When you say, oh well, they made mistakes and we tried to warn them. How many things can you think of in your life where somebody tried to warn you? Maybe not when it comes down to a mate,
Okay.
but isn't it the case that we all have to learn?
Okay.
So
You
that's
you
what
are
I
right. So this is the difference, right? So if I, as I've told people here before, I've stated before when it dealt with relationships, I more than likely was very ignorant of a lot of red flags. I pretty much walked into a burning house, but because I was not emotionally intelligent in there, I opted to walk into the house because of how it is that I felt. So when it dealt with a lot of situations in
so don't you
relationships,
deserve a second chance?
hold on. When it dealt with relationships and things that I incurred, the realest thing that I could do is basically blame myself for the things that transpired and happened. Because the only way that you can allow a vampire into your house is by welcoming that person directly in, saying, "Hey, come in. You can come directly in here. Put your feet directly up." If I decided to have potentially more emotional awareness or whatnot or whatever, then just maybe I wouldn't have had those experiences that I did have. But at the same time, if I didn't have those experiences, I would not be able to mention or have the conversations that I have. But I'm just speaking as a man now. And when it deals with women and they happen to end up with the wrong guy or whatnot or whatever, it'll always end up being the man's fault. Now, again, as a man, I can sit up there and state that I put myself
I
or
don't know.
place
I think
myself
black
in
women have gotten blamed
relationships.
for that plenty. I think black women have gotten blamed for that and dragged through the mud on that very much. From what I've observed, very much they've been blamed for that. Very much. They get blamed for being sexually assaulted. I gave you an example. Excuse me, I don't mean to use bold words. I know it's YouTube, but I gave you an example of a brother that I talked to who called his mom an on a thought.
I wasn't even
I
talking
mean,
about SA though. I'm a
huh?
little bit. I wasn't
Well,
even
I
talking
mean,
about SA. I was just talking about normal relationships
no, no, no. Well,
and
I
and
put,
and bearing the brunt of the responsibility of walking into that burning
well,
house. And I'm saying, as a man, I take the
yeah.
responsibility directly of that. But in the reverse, when it deals with women, they're like, I'm not taking responsibility. I was the greatest person, the goodest person in every single relationship. It was
Okay,
always the
I
man's
can't
fault.
speak to that. I can't speak to women. I can't speak to childish things. People that, like I said, are bad actors. People that have not grown. Or there's going to be plenty of that everywhere. All I'm saying is we need to stop with this heavy rhetoric that's harmful to our communities. We need to, if you want to desert, if you want to desert or divest, do that and don't look back, please. Do that and don't look back. You know what I mean? Enjoy your gray bunny. Enjoy whatever you got going on, your señorita, whatever. Enjoy it. Don't look back. All I'm saying is the heavy rhetoric needs to go. We need to really evaluate the situations, look a little bit deeper, think back, recall what goes on in your own family, recall what's gone on in your own life. And I know we've said this and adopted this term. I'm glad we have, because it's perfect right now. Give each other a bit of grace. It's a lot of people that make foolish decisions as a youngin', and they gotta, make up for it later, apologize to the family members later. Well, mama, you was right. How many men have had to do that? And I don't see, personally, as a matter of significance, and I got to look at some of the evidence that black men are still marrying out 20 to 25%. So I don't see significantly where black women are the fire starters, because again, you want to say that you got to choose better and this and that. Okay, I'll be a little extreme. You can't get blood from a rock. You mentioned the minister Louis Farrakhan, he's one man. So sometimes women are going to either, and again, I'm a woman, I'm just speaking on this, and you brought it up saying that, hey, what happens when they don't listen to the cousin, to the brother? Sometimes, they can't marry their cousin, their brother. What's around them? And let me offer a solution. Good men, if you know a woman is good, or you want to prevent a woman from going the wrong way, introduce her to your good friend. Introduce her to somebody in your crew that would be a great match for her. Are you helping her find a good man? Are they out there? And I see you got another. What is this here?
Because somehow we got back to the interracial thing. That's Loving versus
What was
Virginia.
this? No, no, no. Okay. Well, I wanted to just give a wrap up. I wanted to just give a grandstand there, but if you could call it that. But I just wanted to say that, sometimes we kind of compare apples and oranges. Sometimes we was mistake sentencing each other for life when mistakes are made by all. And I just think that we need to stop with unrealistic expectations. Where, listen, where, giving grace here, you come from a broken home, but yet I expect you to figure it out in terms of relationships. You come from a broken home, but yet I don't expect that you would get with a guy that's bad for you. And even if they do come from a broken home, and you think that, hey, this is a good sister, or my blood sister, I want to make sure that she's not, getting caught in the fray, my friend, whatever, then help her find a man. Help her find that good man. Be the leader. That's all I'm saying, is
So
that
so so hold on, question. So
I just have a different perspective on a
hold on.
few
So you
things here.
want black men to be the leader? That's cool,
Yep.
no problem. The problem is how, if you, even if the black men out here, if you want to sit up there and lead, but nobody wants to follow,
You
now
got to
what?
prove yourself then.
No, no, no. You got black men out here, even for other black men out here, where there's like, yo, I might be a coach or whatnot, whatever. You got black dudes out here
A
with a proven track
coach.
record, but if you got the young black dudes that don't want to sit up there and listen, they just don't want to listen. And the same thing can be very much applied to the black women and the young black women directly out here, where you have black men that can literally sit up there and tell them and teach them certain things, and they opt, just like the young black dudes out here, opt, I'm not going to listen to that. I ain't trying to, trust me, because I just sat up there and heard women tell me, oh, you're not my father. You're not my preacher. You're not God. You're not this. You're not, like I said. So even if I have the best intentions, even though by my friendship, I show you that, yo, I care about you. I love you. I value. I'm showing that not just in words, but also in actions. Even with all of that out there, it's like, nah, I'm still not going. I'm going to forego any information that you got, and I'm going to do my own thing. So what's the use of saying that you want black men to sit up there and be a leader when black women are still going to forego all the information to do whatever it is that they want to sit up there and do?
Well, historically speaking, I don't find that to be the case. I find that there's been a need. I think that black women have upheld the patriarchy in terms of even saying that black men are the heads, and fighting for them, and constantly fighting for their causes politically, even neglecting our own, in terms of what goes on with us at the at the hospitals, in terms of what goes on with us in terms of police brutality. So, for me, I just feel like, there has been a request. Uh, it has been a dream deferred. And I think at this point, there's just a lot of work to do. There's just a lot of work to do. There's a lot of work to do in our community, period. But I will land on this and let you go because you've been so gracious in allowing me your time. But I will land on this that with that being said, that there is a lot of work to do. Uh, I hope that we can do it together, I hope that we can think a little bit deeper, but I just, that's just how I see it. I mean, I respect where you're coming from. I understand there's a lot of hurt. Not to be disrespectful, I hear it. You know what I mean? I hear it. It's a lot of
Well, hold on.
pain,
Let me
but
just correct you real
you
quick.
know,
It now for
yeah.
me in my instance, it's not the hurt aspect. It's the
Okay.
whole aspect of wanting people to actually, well, at least for the black women, to actually listen, to actually pay attention. The hurt comes in where I consistently see black women hurting themselves by not listening to specifically what it is that I'm trying to tell them and warn them specifically about. Like if you know a dude that's been in and out of prison and in and out of jail, don't sit up there and date this dude. Don't even show any type of interest or even decide to procreate with that type of dude. If you got some other street dude out here, stop sitting up there sleeping with the exact same guy that 99 other women in the hood is sitting up there sleeping with and expecting that he's going to treat you different than the other 99. That's
Who
a
is this?
fool's errand.
May I ask this? Who is
Yeah.
this that you're telling this to?
To the black women directly out here that
Okay.
consistently complain about not finding the right black men or always
Let me
finding
ask
the
you
wrong
this.
black guys.
Have you facilitated a forum for them to find good black men, or you just always tell them what they shouldn't do and expect that they should listen to you? And I said listen to you like that because that's how it sounds. You're not listening to me, and this is why you have a problem. Instead of kind of going, like I said, deeper than surface, because again, you can't get blood from a rock. If black men need leadership training, if they need coaching, if they need um to be taught emotional intelligence or how to be aware, how to be a little less, how to be selfish. And I'm just throwing things out there, not saying they, not pinning anything on them, but these are just some things that I can think of that would cultivate a healthy relationship. um who are these? I mean, like, I don't know if you have any siblings or you have any other women in your family. um how are they, like, are they having a easy time finding all these good men that are there? I mean, when you tell them don't date, you know and I don't mean to, I'll say Tyrone, okay? I'm not trying to be
No, I got you.
funny, but if you're saying, hey, don't go after Tyrone, well, then show me Hakeem. Then where's Hakeem then? And then the few Hakeems that there are they, classist? Are they elitist? Do they feel like they just so good they can't be touched and you ain't good enough for them?
So hold
Listen,
on.
we
So
can't
we
deny those statistics, brother. That is high.
hold on. I'm not denying statistics.
65% high.
I'm not denying statistics, but if we're going to
So
talk
where are
about
all these good
statistics,
black men going?
hold,
Where are they?
hold
I
on.
mean, is it a city? Is it a hub? Like, what's the passcode?
Hold on.
What's the
I'll
Wi-Fi?
put it to you like this.
Let us
Just
know.
like if I put it to you like this, and we got a few people that were in the comment section. We got Dorsey and Sham that want to come into the conversation as well.
And I don't
What,
mean
what
to
I'm
hog it. I'll let
No, 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 it's cool, it's cool. But what I'm saying is that if at any moment in time for me, if I wanted to go out here and find a good black woman or just a good person in general, I would actually get up and actively search and action. I'm not just going to sit there and wait. I'm not going to allow somebody else to do the work specifically for me. If I want like a gourmet pizza, I'm not about to just sit up there and call Uber and go through the list and have somebody. I'm just going to go out there and look to see if they, you got a gourmet pizza restaurant somewhere. I'm going to actually do the hard work.
but can
That's
I
what I'm going to do.
can I say this, Saji, pronounce your name for me.
SEIJIHITO.
Sejihito, can I just say this? It's like, well, I'm sure, I'm on the platform, so go ahead, right? But listen, this is not we don't, black people, FBA, we do not win by being individualists. This is a community thing. If you see there's a need, we need to be more solutions based. at this point in the year of 2025. I'm not talking about the 20 to 25% I've been hollering. I'm talking about the year. Now I am talking about the year. That in 2025, we need to be more solutions based than always pointing out the issue. I mean, where's the solution? And the thing is if it was so easy, more people would do it.
No, it
Maybe
is
we
easy. It's
do.
just that people don't want to
Okay.
listen. That's the thing. If
That's
I
your
personally
opinion.
hold on,
That's your
if I personally,
opinion.
but hold on. If I personally tell people that, hey, every single day that I basically, walk, I'm working on being a better person than yesterday. I'm working on not carrying baggage from previous relationships. I'm working on this. It is actually easy to do. It's the fact that a lot of people are lazy and they don't actually specifically want to work on themselves, and they would
No, I'm
rather
not
for
talking
the
about
other
work.
person.
That's not the part I'm talking about.
No, no, but you said no, no. I'm talking about the solution part. So I'm listing an actual solution that I do every single day, and I'm saying like I'm not only talking, but I'm also walking in that exact same action to be that better person that I
Oh,
said that I'm
oh,
going to sit up there and be.
I
But the
gotta
problem
start.
is,
Okay,
huh?
go ahead.
But the problem is, a lot of people are lazy and they would rather for the other person to be perfect and for them to just stay where it is in the broken spectrum that they're in. And for the perfect person to just manage that and be okay with them being broken. Because, like I said, a lot of people don't want to do the necessary work. A lot of people don't want to be the best
Okay,
versions of themselves.
right. Let me say this because this whole thing was about you saying that I tell people women don't date Tyrone. Okay, no disrespect if your name is Tyrone. I knew a Tyrone. Shout out to you, brother. You was cool. Uh, don't date Tyrone. Now, are you talking about broken people? Because now this is totally different. Because if now you're talking about broken people, why would you expect somebody broken to listen to sound judgment? So what I'm talking about is
Because as
people that are
somebody who
healed.
was once
Hold on, let me
broken,
finish. Let me finish. If what I'm talking about here are people that are healed and you're telling them what not to do, but I'm saying, are you giving them solutions?
no, no,
Are you
you said
are
that
you
the people in the
facilitating
community,
an environment for them
you
to date good men?
You said it
Yeah.
was a community issue, that it's not a
Yes.
separatist type of. So I'm saying, as a
No.
person that's
Or
looking at it as
individual.
a community, it don't matter.
Separation's fine. I'm talking about individualism.
No, but what I'm
Separation's
saying
good.
is, as a community, I'm giving a solution blanketed towards anybody. It don't matter if you're perfect. Don't matter if you're moderate. Don't matter if
Oh,
you're
I
on the
can't
lower
do
end of the
that.
spectrum.
I can't. Again, that's
You
apples
said
and
you said
oranges.
give solutions
That's apples. I
instead of
know,
just
but
pointing out the problem.
I
So that's what
can't
I'm
give.
doing.
I understand that, but sir, if I have somebody that's emaciated, starving, and somebody that's hungry, just they maybe missed a meal that day. Those are different solutions. That's not the same thing. So when you said I have women out there that I try to coach or try to give sound advice to, tell them not to date Jerome and all of this. Now you're saying, well, these people are broken and they don't want to work on themselves. Well, how are you telling somebody that's broken, giving them sound judgment, and expecting for them to take it? You can't mix that in the same pot. What I'm talking about are people that are ready. What are they supposed to do? Because
Okay.
you can't get blood from a rock. Are you offering solutions to this? Because you're blanketing black women into this category in
I thought I
together.
just gave a solution, but
Yeah,
maybe
okay, but I
maybe what
said
I'm
people
saying.
that are there already, that have worked
I
on
got
themselves.
I got
Because
you.
see, you're grouping those that are broken in with those that are ready. I'm asking because I was assuming the whole time we were talking about women that were healed and ready
Uh,
and they're making bad decisions. I didn't know that you were talking about broken women making bad decisions, expecting them to take your advice. No,
Realistically,
I
I'm,
would
I'm
think that
talking. Realistically, I'm talking about everybody because
yeah,
nobody's
and
perfect
I
and
can't
everybody
group
still has
everybody.
a fraction of brokenness directly. But what I
I
will say
can't
is
group
this: is that
everybody.
I'm gonna
I'm not going to
let
do that. You don't want them to do that with men, but now you're doing it with women.
I. But
You
hold
see
on,
what I mean?
hold on. I'm
It's
gonna pull up.
okay.
What is it? We got Dorsey and Sham, but I just
And
want to
I'll
say
go
this.
and I'll go ahead and drop down.
Oh, no, you're cool. The main thing I want to say is that the exact same energy that I've always given to black women, I've always given that to black men. The only difference has been is that, irregardless on the disagreements that we may have as men, they still listen, and then they're trying to just shift the blame just solely 100% over there to women. They're like, yo, bro, you right, you know, we do got some stuff we got to work on. And then some of them will be honest, but like, yo, these are the things that I'm working on to try to better myself as, you know, a man and whatnot, whatever. But if I deliver that exact same energy that I give to black men and young black dudes directly out here talking about we need to be more accountable, responsible, we need to value ourselves and also women in the community more, and I shift that directly over to black women, it's a whole different story. So, you know, but I'll let y'all have at it. I think we got Dorsey up and we also got Sham. What is up? What is up?
Can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
Oh shoot.
How y'all doing this evening?
Pretty good, pretty good. How you doing?
I'm doing
I'm
all
doing
right.
pretty good. California, so I'm just going to give you a West Coast perspective of what we feel, okay, as black men. Okay. I heard what the sister said. She had a lot of valid points, but the only thing you said, we will not get ahead as individuals. We have to make it a group effort, right?
Yes, sir.
So in other words, you're saying it's all or nothing. So it can't be no compromise and say, well, 75% of the black men here in America are good fathers, are law-abiding citizens, and they have jobs and they're getting themselves together. Okay. Now, you more looking at the glass half empty than the glass is half full. Am I correct?
No, I can't say that. No, of course I can't say that because I don't even
But
know.
you just said not more than what 5 minutes ago that we have to go as a community unified rather than doing individual, making individual success of ourselves. I can't make another man do what he has to do. I can only do that. I take care of my child. I don't take care of nobody else's children because that my child is my responsibility and I am accountable on how he comes out as a citizen. Now, I come from the generation before you. I've come from a generation that saw us get our civil rights. And as soon as we got our civil rights, black women jumped ship to go ahead and be with the white feminists. Don't give me that. Y'all turned y'all back on the families to pursue a career. Then when y'all got old and middle age and you realize that, hey, this career, I still got to face racism in the corporate America. Then you start saying, well, maybe I should have a family, but you like 34 years old. Then you want to start acting and acting like you want to be a wife. You want to be a mother, but it's too late because all the good, no, you done had 45 minutes for us to hear you go back and forth on what you're saying. So understand this. Let me get my little solid 5 minutes of facts, not feelings, facts. In the 70s, black men were going to college just like black women. We were attaining our PhDs, master's degrees, and we were going ahead and we were accelerating our race into the next generation. What happens? Black women decided that they could do it on their own. And they divorced black men, talking about they wasn't happy. They wanted to be fulfilled. Okay? I can use my own history of my mother and father. My mom had a PhD. When my dad met my mom at Tougaloo College in Jackson, Mississippi. He married her. He was 10 years older than her. He married her and he put her through college. She didn't have to work. He worked. And if anybody from Jackson knows about my family, they know the Dorseys were running things. So then when my dad did all this for my mom, she then said, well, I can do it on my own. I got this little degree from Ole Miss. I got a master's. And she listened to her white feminist friends because she was in the teachers union. And I will say this: she spent more time with other people's children than she did with her own children. My mom never helped me with my homework. I went to school at the age of 16 and got a full scholarship at Jackson State University. Okay. And at that time, we was getting Pell grants and Kellogg grants, almost $7,000 a semester. And because I was 16 and I couldn't handle my own finances as an adult, my mom came, got my money, and paid off her PhD debts with my money. I had to go work for my uncles in a bar at night, 5 days a week, so I could afford an apartment. So that is my story. It is an individual story. When my son then decided he wanted to college, I dropped everything. I had begged him to come to California and come to school, but he decided he wanted to go all the way to Florida to get an education. And I said, okay, well, as long as you get the education. But when me and him got the apartment, because I'm the one who got the apartment, I'm the one who set up residency in Florida, so he didn't have to pay out of state fees. When I asked him, why did you decide to come? He said, to get away from mom. I was like, God damn. That's my story. Now you got the floor.
Well, I think you were addressing me. I think you were addressing me. Can you all hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay, cool. I think you were addressing me. This wasn't my intent to have a debate with your viewers, but what I really feel is I think the word individualism, which was the context that you're putting it in, is not that how it was meant. Of course, we all have our own individual experiences. I'm talking about community work and effort to solve problems of the greater population. That's what I'm speaking on. But I think the word individualism triggered you to vent on things that can be debated all in of themselves.
Okay. Let me go back.
You're
No,
speaking.
because understand this. I'm going to give a retort to what you just said. Because my whole thing is you're basing your stuff off of feelings, not facts. Okay. Feeling. You're doing it on statistics because I can go get a subgroup and I can go and ask them, but that don't reflect the whole nation. If I ask people in Chicago in a statistic, people in Chicago don't have the same problems as people in Mississippi or California.
No, what I said is I'm speaking on my observances. I also said when the host said, hey, this is what's going on, I said, I can't speak to it. I don't know the numbers on that. So, if I don't have the facts, I won't speak to it. And if something is based off of my observances, I'll say that. So I think somebody else wants to address me, but I'm not going to address anybody hostile. So.
No, I'm not going to be hostile to her, but I have a very soft voice and I cannot speak over both of you. I am very sorry. I just don't have the lung power or wind power to overtalk anyone. And I'm going to say, as a Black woman, that the conversation, if you speak towards Black men for tit for tat, right? Tit for this, tat for that. It's why our community can't heal and why Black men are always going to feel targeted. And they are targeted, especially with a conversation like this, where every little topic, that whether it's colorism, whether it's racism, whether it's poverty, all I hear is that in every topic is at some point Black men are to blame for this at some point. Seiji, and I feel like that is not healthy.
Hold on. Can you speak to what he said? Do you feel targeted since I've been talking to you the whole time? Can you talk to what this sister's saying? Do you feel targeted?
Are you referring to me?
No, I'm talking to Seiji because I was talking to him the whole time. The sister said that, conversations like this make Black men feel targeted.
I will allow Seiji to answer for him because he's an individual.
I know. I'm asking him personally because I've been talking to him this whole time. The sister says that conversations like this make Black men feel targeted. Do you feel targeted?
You talking about just me personally?
In this conversation, the sister said,
No,
conversation.
I get what Sham is saying. For me, I'm used to it, so I guess I'm indifferent to it.
And I'm speaking as a whole, not as see, and that's the other issue for tit for tat conversations is that we want to come in and out to prove a point, and because we want to win an argument, and there's nothing to win here. There's this in reality, we as a community are on the losing end, whether we want to take this conversation on an individual point or a community point. At the end of the day, we still are on the losing end. Black men are being targeted in a conversation like that because we're looping them into a topic that in reality not all these men fit into, because everyone is their own individual in the first place. So yes, as a community we need to address these topics, but then when we target good men and loop them in with this subject that they're trying to help with too, and we want them to be responsible for it, that starts to become unhealthy conversation. And this is why our community does not make progress, because we're taking something like this and we're making blanket statements to everyone on everything versus actually finding solutions that work as a whole. You cannot blame and point fingers for our own responsibilities, our own hurt feelings, our own past and mistakes, or things that we have to deal with because, in all honesty, our government shaped us to be fighting like this in the first place. It is profitable for our government to target Black men and women in the first place. We are our own sort of downfall here, because what are we arguing over? One side is saying Black men hate women, the other side is Black women hate Black men. Makes no sense. We all came from Black people. How could we hate ourselves like this? Because the system designed it that way. So then this is why this conversation stopped becoming healthy now. It's not a healthy dialect to have, because all we're sitting here doing, the last 45 minutes, all I've heard as a Black woman is that it's this man's fault. It's the Black man's fault. It's the Black this, it's the Black that. And you even went as far to ask to say that help a Black woman out, find a good man if you know one, and things like that. That's not healthy either. It's like you as a woman have to build yourself up. That is not a Black man's fault. It's a broken person. And as Seji pointed out earlier, broken people do need to be by themselves. They have to fix the problem first before they go around trying to find love, trying to find a community, trying to find or create a family. You have to fix what's wrong with you first. And to sit there and to be like, well, help me. No, that's not. I'm in therapy now. I have been in therapy for 4 years, and I have made a ton of progress from where I was. I have always admitted the type of person that I have been, and I have never ever thought to myself to blame anyone for how I turned out. Not my parents, not anyone, because it's not healthy to be that way. If I want to move forward as a person, even if I'm a victim, as anyone, if I want to move forward, I have to be strong enough to admit my own faults, strong enough to understand how I found myself in that position, and strong enough to pull myself out. Nobody can do that for you but yourself. And to blame Black men for my position or to find where I found myself in is ludicrous. Everyone has their own path that they've walked in life. We meet bad people, true, but if we're gonna stop being the victims here, we have got to get off that path of victimhood. We have to stop blaming other people and start asking ourselves, what is wrong with ourselves that we find ourselves in this situation so that we can get out of it?
Okay, before you come in, Dwight, please, if you can hold that thought, because she did address me and I'd like to go ahead and respond. All right. So first of all, I want to say this. Congratulations to you on that. I hope you continue, to climb up, and further up. Now, second of all, when you said this is not a healthy conversation, and you said, it's an argument, I think that's how it's, which is ironic because that's how this whole stream started, where we said that she likes to argue, she likes to start things, and people were assuming I'm argumentative in the comments. But but I said that sometimes you have to take things on the chin. It's not easy being a leader. It's not easy coming from the bottom up. So what you may constitute as an argument, I have to have thick skin. We've had to have thick skin. I may see as a healthy conversation. I may see as a healthy build. When we look at the politicians, we see how they may go back and forth, but then they come to an agreement. So again, I don't see this as being an unhealthy thing, but when you talk about individualism, you have to understand, and I don't know if you heard this, I said that I'm a psychologist. I will never look at things from an individual standpoint. And when I say I'm a psychologist, I'm not trained in the Western order. So with that being said, we as a Black people are one consciousness, which is why we say things like, I feel you, where a person can speak in broken English or Ebonics and you understand everything they said. And for a while, it was an exercise on TikTok where Black people would just give the first letter of a word and ask you to finish it, and you would. So that's technically us operating as individualists is part of the problem for me. So again, from the angle of a psychologist, just a studier of human behavior, I will never come from an angle of handle it yourself. It's always excuse. Wait. You did talk.
No, sis. No. You done sucked up. You done sucked up all the air in the room for the last 45 minutes. Now you're going on another tangent. Let the other people talk. You had your chance to talk.
This has been really
See, that's what's wrong with you educated Black women. You think you're Google. You think you know everything.
I just wanted to say that I used to be a community activist, right? And I used to get out there physically and do the work, right? Going into my community, getting people together, trying to improve that community. And I used to have to deal with this very situation of Black men versus Black women and the sort of downfall of that community. Meanwhile, I was watching our youth just be victim to this, victims to overcrowded juvenile centers in the community, victims to having to go into gang life because that was a means of getting money for young people because mom and dad was gone. Mom and dad was gone. And I understand like we have to work together and come together as a community on a whole. But we live in a country whose culture is based off of individualism. And because this country's culture is based off of individualism, it takes that individual to take responsibility to make a difference. And I'm using myself as an example. Yeah, I lived in that type of community, but as an individual, I didn't want to be that type of person growing up. I didn't want to have my children out of wedlock. I didn't want to be a young mother. I didn't want to be, I did not want to be, uneducated or drop out of school or have all these other problems that my community was facing because of poverty and because of so many other issues, especially being targeted by police all the time. But I also wanted to reach out and help my community because I knew I had to deal with these problems in that community.
Hello? Is she around?
Yeah, Sham, I think you might have. Okay,
Sorry, I'm sorry. It muted by accident. I apologize. So I had to deal with this on a individual basis and a community basis, right? And in nowhere did I thought dragging Black men down was the right solution to build our community up. Because if we're going to talk about community right now, the biggest thing we need in America as Black people is to build each other up at this point. And the tit for tat argument, the argument of blaming, each other for the problems that we face is not helping build the community up. It's not helping get our children out of trouble. It's not saving us from poverty. It's pushing us further and further into it. It's destroying our families and our homes. And at some point, we have got to take responsibility for our own actions. I could not help someone on drugs until they, as an individual, had the nerve to say, you know what, I need to change my life and get out of this. So it is about individualism and community at the same time. And I feel still that it's not healthy to sit here blaming each other before we actually get off our feet and do something about it. Does that make sense? Am I crazy for feeling that way?
Sister, I understood. I shut my big mouth because I got a big mouth. Okay. I was a U.S. Marine. Okay. So all I know is to talk. Right. I respect you and I listened to what you had to say. And everything you said made sense. Okay. Now, I didn't have the respect for the other sister because, like I said, for 45 minutes, she talked over Sanjay. She interrupted him. He was more than a gentleman in allowing her to finish her thoughts. But every time he started to give solutions and everything, she would interject and throw the whole discourse in another direction. And now that I am not going to stand for. I am not trying to be politically correct. I ain't trying to get no favors from nobody. I am speaking up for a Black man, me. You put your time in with the community, and I applaud you for the sacrifice you made because I know that was a strain on your mental capability and your spirit. But I have to say, as Black men, we are physical. We want to see results. Even if it takes 1,000 years, we will continue to strive to be better people. We don't give up. You say Black men give. You know, when a Black man is out there selling drugs, you know what they usually doing that for? To make money. To make money to support their kids, their moms. So they making a sacrifice of their freedom. And do we respect them for that? No, we don't. Every other culture has criminals in their midst, and they're not really criminals. They are people who are poor and are just trying to make ends meet. Now,
Yes,
if they
I
sell
agree with
drugs,
you.
you
Yeah, I
understand
agree
what I'm
with
saying?
yes, because and I'll even do one better. In America, criminals are almost always like like the Italian mob, like right when they had like Al Capone in them, they're immortalized now, and a lot of people treat them as heroes no matter what they did in their lives, right? With the Italian mafia or other gangs at that. And yet, when it comes to like the Black Panthers or the Black gangs that came up in these neighborhoods, right? You see people having no choice because what happened to those communities? The businesses left, the jobs left. They were just complete ghettos. And there was nothing there. I lived that. The neighborhood even lost the grocery store. There wasn't a grocery store for 2 hours. So it was like we had a literal food desert. What were people going to do? No jobs, no food, no nothing. And then you lose both parents and you had like a rise of children joining these gangs. So no longer was the gangs about the fathers anymore joining them, which had to feed their families living in this, but then the children also had to feed themselves living in this. And our children, our men, got criminalized heavily for that. But white people, when they were doing this, when they were selling alcohol, when it was banned and all this other stuff, they didn't get criminalized like that. They barely got hit on the wrist most of the time. And you have them selling opioids and meth and stuff to their community now and destroying their own community. And they still don't want to put them away, they still don't treat them as thugs and criminals like they did our community. So it's like we had to do it. And the other thing is, it's a difference between a criminal who has access to everything and still chooses to do crime towards someone who has been denied even the basic necessities of life and has to do this for survival. Those are because, like, when I was in my community, first thing I asked the gang members, if you could choose, what would you choose to do? Would you still choose this life, or would you prefer something else?
I'm sorry to interrupt you, sis.
Yeah.
But what town, what city do you live? When you say community, I just like to know what community you're talking about.
I grew up in Milwaukee, so Milwaukee is my home.
Okay,
And I grew
yeah,
up
I love that.
and I grew up in the ghettos and the ghettos of Milwaukee. And so in Wisconsin. And it was rough. Like, my house, we got shot up. My father, my mother were both married. And that was not rare in our community. There's a lot of fathers in the community I grew up in. And I was really surprised, like, that was a stereotype that white people had, that their fathers weren't in the home. Because there was fathers in my community, maybe one or two families didn't have the father. But then, like, even with that, my father stepped up, the other father stepped up for those kids. Like, it was weird to feel that stereotype and feel like that was never true. But on the other point, was like watching my community, my youth, the adults, and everything just fall apart because of so many issues that started to happen. And it was just like, and then to have the Black people in that community dogs, like literally dogged out, and not have anyone understand what it was like to live in that, to try and survive that. Like, and yeah, like, I had friends gunned down before me because they were, there was gang wars where I lived at. So they had the GD and they had the Vice Lords where I lived at. And they had drug territory, and they were sort of borderline where I stayed at. So, like, they were constantly crossing into each other's borders. So there's always, gunfire where I lived at too. So it's like, I was in the heart of this, trying to repair my community and fix it. And understanding, like, even then, like, white people were coming in to try and help too, but then to have them literally, like, sabotage the work that we were trying to do and stab us in the back. Like, it's just thinking, like, to think like we're going to turn against Black men, because it was Black men on the front lines with me when I was trying to fix that community. I would never think to myself that if I want to fix my community, the first thing I'm going to do is have a problem with what Black men are doing. Like, yes, everyone an individual, yeah, call out the wrong that someone's doing, fine. But to accuse all Black men of having those stereotypes, like, we're feeding into the feminist, the racism, the feminine. We're. It's almost like we're saying, okay, since we think this way too, because whites think this way, then it must be real. And it's like, no, we have to break this cycle and stop treating Black men like this. And I'm not
Sis,
saying. Oh, I'm sorry.
sis,
Go
if I
ahead.
can interrupt you for a minute.
Mm-hmm.
The reason why we got these stereotypes is because of television. When Good Times came on, Norman Lear didn't tell the real truth because he had James inside that house, that public housing house. And most Black people know that the man could not be in the household if they were receiving welfare and was living in that project. Okay. The movie Claudine showed that. Cooley High showed that. See what? Let's say the three main television corporations at that time was CBS, NBC, and then later on ABC. ABC was the one that came up with shows like That's My Mama. Remember that? Where a single Black woman was taking care of kids in South Central LA.
Yeah, I remember that. I remember that.
The father was nowhere mentioned, seen. There was no pictures of him. None of that. None of that. The father was never in the show. Am I right or wrong?
Yeah, that's right. And it's because they wanted to create the image of this is how the Black family really was. And it's like the whole abandonment issue, like even when she brought up about Black men abandoning the woman, and I was in the comments saying this, I was like, no, like Black men really do want to be involved in their children's life, and I have experienced that because my father and mother, their dynamic is a bit different. So my mother got pregnant out of wedlock, and she did not want to raise a child by herself. So she said she's going to put me up for adoption because she didn't want to force my dad's hand for marriage. But my dad said no and told her that we're getting married. And they got married a month before I was born. And I say that because, like, I have always known my father to be a part of my life. I have never known my father to not be a part of my life. And I've always known that there are fathers and they're there. Like, even the fathers I don't know, growing up, like, even if the father was not married into the home, the fathers were around in the community. I knew everybody's father. They knew me. And like, there was things was like, if my father was never around, I knew my father stepped up. I knew other fathers stepped up to try and be around in other children's life. So it was like, I didn't understand this dynamic of, like, yeah, you saw that on TV, but it didn't fit into what was going on at home. And I'm telling you, in the most impoverished area of Milwaukee, fathers was stepping up. So how did they get that stereotype? Well, that stereotype happened because whites wanted that stereotype. They profit off of single mothers. And it's like, if you don't understand that we lost the game, like they playing a game and we already lost it. It's checkmate for us. We need fathers in the home because fathers is what's helping the family to rise up. Like, everybody want that immediate check. And that check don't mean nothing. It's just chump change versus what you could build together. And that's how Black people was getting money, because don't forget, we started from nothing. Our family started from nothing. And when we worked together to be something, that's how it started. We didn't start off rich like that. We started off with nothing and we started to gain stuff. And then next thing you know, the music genre, television, everything started to sabotage the Black community, the Black family, everything. And to say that's the Black man's fault, that's no way is that the Black man's fault. How is it going to be your fault when the whole system is against you?
Sis, can I interject?
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I let you, because see, you brought up some points, and then I want to give you the details to your points because you had questions. When Ronald Reagan came into office, he cut all educational grants to all the HBCs. I was still on scholarship, so I didn't have to worry about it. But I saw all my friends standing in line at 5 o'clock in the morning to go see if they could be eligible to get grants, loans, and so forth. We were winning in the 70s. And then Ronald Reagan took all the money. Just the same thing Donald Trump pulled. Okay? He is taking away the educational advances of our people and saying that, oh, we are what they say, DEI or whatever they is. They don't go by the merits that we earned these PhDs, master degrees, these it's when you're a journeyman, you get these workers and so forth. They always undermine us every time we start making advances. And all I can say to the Black community is, we ain't never gonna give up. Black fathers don't never give up. We're stubborn. We want us to prosper. But one thing we do lack, we lack leadership that really know how to communicate. See, we have leadership that just give out word salad. See, we don't use cold words like community. When we say community, that means all of us have a common goal and we are united. We unify in getting to that destination. unity, community, assets, property. If we own our own houses, then guess what? They can't take them from us. And my prime example is Jackson, Mississippi. 87% black, and they are in turmoil. Why? Why? I don't know. I don't live in Jackson, Mississippi anymore. I live in California. And I was here when the Crips and the Bloods, and this is one thing I want to point out. The same community that had, I lived in the jungle. So most people who know about the jungle, Coliseum, La Brea, okay? The same community that produced Crips and Bloods is the same community that introduced Venus and Serena Williams to the world. See, it goes both ways. We will have our low points, but we will definitely have our high points. And I give it back to you.
No, I agree with you. Like the community is the community has the ability to rise up, right? The community is full of talent, creative talent, entrepreneurship talent. You have, I mean, we're the inventors of society, whether people want to admit that or not. We are the creators. We have this brain capacity and talent that we can rise up out of the problem that we see. So what is our issue as a community that we're not getting up out of this? And when I was an activist, I already knew it's like you got one person stabbing you in the back when you're trying to get out. And it doesn't matter who it was, because it's the American system to do that. But then you had the one standing in front of you who needs healing, who needs help, who needs to be like, we got to get up out of this. You can't think that people are going to hand you over money. People, look, I have been around, and the reparations argument has been around since my father's time. And if we're going to wait around, we'll never see it because they'll never get it. They're greedy. They'll never give it. They'll die before they give it. So at the end of the day, then what's left for us to do? We have to take it. And how do you do that? You have to rise up above what put us here in the first place. We can't be greedy over equity. We have to build it ourselves. We have to do it ourselves, but we have to change our mindsets too. We are feeding into this system of racism, and we're doing it by labeling these stereotypes onto our own men or to our own women. And I'll say this too, for me personally, because like I said, I went to therapy, and there are some things that I have to check about myself, because like I didn't want to drag that into a family or anything else like that. So I wanted to heal because I saw a lot. And so I was always on this path of, I have to fight. I have to fight all the time. And I have to be this strong woman. I have to be this and I have to be that, because I'm not going to survive if I am not this way. And I realized, like, me being in survivor mode 24/7 of the day is not healthy. I don't want to be labeled a strong Black woman. I don't like that stereotype. You can tell me I'm strong all you want to, but I actually hate it. And the reason why I hate it is I just want to be a woman. I don't want all those labels on me. I just want to be feminine. I want to enjoy my life. I want to be sweet. I want to be all these things. I don't have to do that. I don't have to be this bear in order to change my community. And I had to realize, like, I don't have to put on this persona just to get things done. I don't have to be like this. I don't have to be angry. And I shouldn't be. I'm not going to take it out onto the world because of the bad things I went through. And like that helped me to be a better person, right? That's an individual basis. But being a better person also meant, like, I want the people around me to be better. And so I choose to change who I am so that the world around me change. And I think as a people, as a community, yes, we need change and we need healing. And the last thing, it's just not healthy to sit there blaming one another at this point. We have to stop this. We have to stop this. We have to come together. And the first thing is to say, you know what? It's the end of this. Let's stop blaming. Let's just move forward.
You have a great point, sis. Now, this is about the first speaker. Okay, Sergi, what's her name? The lady who was speaking before? The psychologist, the one that was speaking before, right?
Okay, there we go. You
Okay.
back in.
Yeah, you're back. She said that she did not look at people as individuals because she was a psychologist, right? Didn't she pretty much say that?
Yeah.
Okay, so in other words, if you break that down, she using psycho logic, crazy logic. That's why I don't trust psychologists because they don't look at individuals. They look at us as a group study. We are not a group study. We are individuals. Each state, whether it be Louisiana, Memphis, South Florida, each city has its own flavor. Memphis is different than Chicago. Chicago is different than Philadelphia or New York. We all are raised under different conditions and have been exposed to different cultures. So, no, we're never going to be the same because we've been exposed to different things, you know. But the one thing I will say about us is regardless of the conditions, like you said, you were in Milwaukee, right, Miss Chambray?
Yeah, I was.
Okay, you were in Milwaukee. I had a buddy of mine when I was in college. He was on scholarship too. I don't know if they still do it, but I think y'all have a beer company called what, Natural Light or whatever up there.
It's a lot of beer companies up here, but yeah, I
Well,
did.
my friend said that when he was in high school in the summertime, he would go to the beer company and load beer onto trucks.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
Now he was underage, but he took it on himself to go get a job. And all of our people are capable of doing that. If you can't get a job, then start your hustle. Start your hustle. Whether it be t-shirts, whether it be tennis shoes, whether it be hair weaves, whatever it is to the Black community, make your own money. Yes, go out there and fill out them applications and take them jobs, but at the same time, have your own independent source of income.
yep, yep. Because when we didn't have the grocery stores, there was two. I don't know if people didn't know this. So, a black farmer came out into the middle of the ghetto, opened the farmers market, and so we have a farmers market in the summertime, spring, and fall, and so people could get fresh food like that. A black teacher in that community, opened up a grocery store herself, and then followed by some other black families that opened up grocery stores there, and to try and to help with like the food desert we had. But we had black barbers, and we had people like, if you didn't have the money to open up a business, like, because we had a lot of redlining, so you couldn't get loans at the time to get businesses. It was very hard for even to get community help. Like, I had to try and find money for programs in that community for donations and stuff. It's very difficult. But at some point, like, people were like running shops out of their homes. If we didn't have the money to lease a store or lease a place or buy a place, then we ran it out of the houses. And it was like we just had word of mouth of like, oh, if you don't like getting your hair done at this shop, then you could go to Tiff place to get it done in the house. And she do a good job. This how much she charged. So that's how and then eventually Tiff owned her own shop after that. So it's like, I say that because like we taught it, like growing up taught, like, I think our children and other people fall victim to the fact of quick money, right? And quick money is appealing, but quick money is not investment. And investment is important. If you're not gonna, quick money is here today, gone tomorrow, and it's dangerous, right? I mean, you running the risk of getting caught up with the police or something nefarious on the end. But if you got something that you can invest in, well, it may not come to you in the beginning, but it'll definitely come to you as long as you work hard at it and keep up with it. And yeah, I get it. We live in a world where, like, white people sabotage that too. But our parents got through that. Our parents still kept at it, even like, you know, growing up. Like my dad was marched with Martin Luther King. He watched the world sabotage black people. He experienced that. And that didn't stop him from making his own construction business and other things like that. So it's like, I'm just saying, we have to sort of push past them. We have to push past them. We can't keep going the path like they keep dictating us to be on, because that's what we are right now. We're the chess pieces. Like, when do we become the players is my thing. And then, like, it's like, and when are we going to realize that that's where we're standing at right now? And that's why we
Right,
can't get forward.
right. Now, one thing I would like to say, because of my generation, like I said, I was born in 1962, okay? Jackson, Mississippi. We had our own Wall Streets, Black Wall Streets in every city, until they then said, you know what? Let's undermine these business by saying that equality. So you know what happened? Black women left the Black Wall Streets to go to the malls. Everybody saw it. Everybody grew up. Everybody saw it. Everybody ran to those white men malls and spent their money. And we no longer recycled that money in the black community. My father had a business. It was called Ferry Street when it was in Jackson. And if anybody my age or anybody know of Jackson, they will remember the days of Ferry Street. There were hundreds of black businesses on that. Dentists, lawyers, doctors, shoe salesmen, shoe repair shops, dozens of restaurants. They sell clothing, dry goods, everything. But as soon as they said, hey, you black people can come in this mall and shop with us white folks, they just ran there and constantly stayed there until eventually they undermined the black businesses until they were not able to support themselves. Then what they did was the federal government came in and said eminent domain and destroyed all of that to put an IRS building. That's in Jackson, Mississippi.
Yeah.
This is what I'm seeing for myself.
Yes, we had the same issue. So in Milwaukee, two issues happened in my neighborhood I grew up. One was like that treaty that sort of has with refugees that come here, with the Asian refugees, where they don't have to pay any taxes. And so they bought up a lot of the empty buildings because they funneled wealth from their country to here. And so even though they're supposed to be refugees, a lot of them were getting money funneled somehow to buy these properties. And when they bought them, they opened up business. So a lot of the hair shop, like the hair weave stuff or clothing stuff that was owned by black people, restaurants and stuff, all became like owned by either Koreans or Vietnamese or the Hmong at that point. So it pushed a lot of the black business out of the community because a lot of people didn't want to deal with the racism from the Asians at that time. The second thing that occurred is, like, especially with the grocery stores, which was like would have been white owned, right? So there was like that got pushed out because of what they wanted to call was like theft. But it was weird because, like, theft didn't start happening, like armed robberies didn't start happening until they started putting check cashing places into the grocery stores. And then armed robberies started happening where they would like start getting held up by guns. But the weird thing is, like, why did the grocery store have the check cashing place even though like a block down the street is a building for the check cashing place? It was just weird. So it's like what was more important was like the food. You wouldn't get robbed if you didn't have this thing here. Because there were banks in the community, they weren't getting robbed because they had the bill to like deal with that, right? But you had this store that had a place where you could just go in and steal money out of. And I'm not saying like whether it's right or wrong. It was just very out of place to do. So it ended up causing both grocery stores to be shut down and no food in the community. And so it was like it was just like and then the building sat there rotting. Like nobody could buy it because like if you wanted to be a black person to buy the parking lot and the building at the time, this was a lot of money at the time. They wanted to charge 2.5 million because I was actually trying to find someone with some money to come in and see if they could buy the lot in the building so it didn't sit empty, because the empty building was causing crime to go up too. And so it was just like I couldn't get heads nor tails. Like I did find one person who would do it, but then the guy lied and said that he had another buyer who would pay more, and so he rejected our deal, only to find out there wasn't no other buyer. I don't know what he was trying to do, but like,
Greedy. We were greedy.
yeah, but the building still sat empty, and there was still no food in the community. So it was just like, and yeah, both lots were owned by a white person, and so like that's where you see where I mean when I say like sabotage in the community. So it was just like, I'm saying this to say like we can pull ourselves out. We can get there. We all have a common enemy here. We all have common ground. What happened for us to disconnect from each other, we can repair that connection again. We just have to want to. We have to want to. And we have to stop blaming each other now. We have to stop blaming each other. We have to accept that we went through something, but then it has to be over now. It's over now. So we have some hurt, get some therapy, get through it. I'm not trying to deny we don't have hurt. We don't have hurt with each other, but it's time to heal now. It's time to work together. It's time to stop being at each other's throats. Because look, we're arguing about community to get along, to get it together. And yeah, we're saying, well, you did this to me and you did that to me and you did this and you did that. And to people who probably have never done anything like that in their life. Like, I'm sure, like we have to stop having like this feeding into these racism and this stereotype, but we also have to sort of start checking ourselves in this aspect. If we want to move forward together, we already have common ground in this country. We're all black. We all face the same thing. We are all black. That's the only common ground we ever needed. We don't need them to separate us anymore.
May I interject?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, I'm here in Los Angeles. Okay, and if anybody in Los Angeles, in the chat room or whatever in Los Angeles, the Latino community, they had a leader that was a mayor. His name was what? Viragosa. He set up what was called economic independent zones, whereas these Hispanics could go out there and put all their little, I guess, sidewalk sales, garage sales, any of that, and would allow them every day to get out there on that sidewalk and sell their trinkets and clothes and everything without being harassed by the police. Okay. Later on, Mayor Karen Bass, okay, that's the mayor of LA now. She allowed the Hispanics to set up taco stands up and down every corner in Los Angeles. If anybody is from LA, hit a 1 so that I can verify what I'm talking about. Every point there was a taco stand. The health department didn't even come and bother them people. These people had their little stands right there on the side of the wall. You know, road dirt, debris is blowing all in the food and so forth. They not being harassed by the police, the health department, nobody. These people got that money and had that money under in their pocket because nobody was there. They didn't have to get a business license. This is what they do. But when we try to go out there and put out a barbecue thing or whatever, we get harassed by the police. And this is the real truth here in Los Angeles. Let a black man go out there and try to set up him a little something, clothing, whatever it is. They are going to come in there and shut it down. And Karen Bass is part of that because she at any time could go out there and say all races and cultures can go out there and set up their own little shop, their own little hot dog stand, their own little barbecue. She didn't do that. She catered to one culture, and that was the Hispanics. Now, I'm just being real. And I'm calling because this was a black woman that did that sold us out.
Right. And that becomes like I said, the stab in the back part, right? You get the people stabbing you in the back that you think are allies and you willing to help you. And the thing is, look, this country is a capitalist country, and the main form of capitalism is racism. This country figured out to capitalize racism, and it's
okay. Let me finish. Can I finish on my on my part?
Go ahead. I'm sorry. Yes.
We have Ice Cube. We have Dr. Dre. I will give Magic Johnson a little credit because he did build up the parts of Crenshaw and so forth. But why is there a food desert in Compton? Why is there a food in Lenox? Why does the food come in Inglewood? When you had all these black multimillionaires who could have went right there and opened up a simple little food place. They don't care. Because once they get their money, they don't care about us. Ice Cube filled our heads with black independence. And then he ran right to Donald Trump. I don't want to hear that. Steve Harvey told us about black independence, and he ran right there to Donald Trump. Jim Brown, who told us be black and proud and think about black independence, he ran right there and kissed the ring of Donald Trump. And I'm not even going to talk about Kanye. He don't even exist no more in my world. So what I am saying is we have not held our so-called pseudo leadership responsible. They are the ones why they take our money and then go spend it with the white man. We buy their music and they go spend it with the white man. This is what I'm pointing out to us as a community.
No, I understand as a community too. I agree about that. Like you get people, I think I have two different opinions about that because when I was an activist, look, I have to go where the money is. And unfortunately, sometimes I got to go to white people to get money to get donations and stuff. And because a lot of times you get people that are in that position to give and they're not there anymore. They've run out of the ghettos. They're out of, they've moved out, they've packed up, they're gone, and they ain't never coming back. And they'll tell everyone else not to look back. And the sad part about that is we need you to look back. We need you to look back. So if I can't get it from you, I got to get it from somewhere. And it's like, it is how it is. If that's the money, then that's the money. Come on. Sorry, that's my puppy. And
yeah, I got my puppy too.
Yeah, he bark at me. So the other concept of that is, it's like, yeah, I got to get it from them, but I can't keep dealing with you because eventually somebody going to come in and mess it all up. So it's like, I'm on a time frame. How much can I get before you come and try and destroy it all? So it's like, it's like, I'm damned if I do, damned if I don't type of situation. If I got to go outside my community to try and get help. So that's why I kind of don't say too much to that, because I've been in that position, but I'm not rich either. I've been in that position coming from a poor perspective. As a rich person, like, I can't come from that, because I I think Black people have been so, they're so ingrained into us and into our education. So it's our thought process to just be like, when we get money, to just get the hell out, to get far away, to never come back, to never help. Like, we are on the up and up, and so we're the better. We get to that point where we're like, we're different from them, so we're better.
They call it
And
the boo.
right, it's worse than colorism, where you have like the belief that the lighter your skin is, the better you are. It's worse than that. It's the fact that we take capitalism, we got all this money, and now we sort of deem ourselves this type of deity, that we don't look back into the community that created that talent, that shaped us, that helped us, that got us to where we are, that raised us. Our families, our people are all still back there. And yet we don't think to go back and be like, what can we do? Like, open a business. Like, I'm not saying to give out your check. I'm not saying that. But I'm saying look into trying to clean things up. What's going on with the education? What's going on? There's so many different avenues that you can come in, because I'll be honest with you. So now that white folks hit rock bottom into poverty, because let's just be honest, they hit rock bottom. Um, they moving back into those communities that have the low incomes now, right? Why are they coming back? Because they can't afford them incomes that the communities that kept us out of.
Gentrification.
Coming back where we are, right? They coming back.
But they don't call it gentrification. They don't call it, oh, we broke and we moving back in the hood. They call it gentrification.
But we know why they back. We know why they there. They broke. But you see, they'll come back broke. They'll come back broke, but then they'll start to do what we should have been doing. They broke, but they still coming in, cleaning up the community, growing grass, going after. They'll go after those abandoned houses and everything else.
What kills me? And you know what kills me?
What? Oh,
they will take a simple building and make it into a coffee house.
Yes, they will. But we could have did that. We could have did all of that.
Yeah, but understand that. Rather than us going and making our own coffee house, we go in there and give them our money. I thought competition was great about America. How come we don't compete?
Right. And it's like it's at that point where it's like, how come we didn't do this? Why didn't we think of that? And how come they come in and they can get it cleaned up, but we can't? Like, it's crazy. And it's like, trust me, like, sitting there and doing activism for so many years, you could be like, why is it so easy for you to come in here and change things?
You know why white people when they do it? And I know I sound racist and all that, but monkey see, monkey do. They see us and they take our ideas and they go ahead and do them. Exactly. We go blah, blah, blah.
Exactly. And you will see, like, I've even seen, like, I be telling people, like, don't get on TikTok sharing your recipes. Because people ask me why I don't get on TikTok cooking and stuff like that. I said, all my recipes, I'm passing down to my goddaughter. Because I raised my goddaughter, she Black. And my recipe's going to her. And I told her, because her daughter want to grow up to be a chef and she want to cook. And she needs some in her plethora. So I was like, when pass it down to your daughter. But don't go on TikTok showing that stuff off. Because you know why? Somebody white is always watching and she go steal your recipe. And all of a
what
sudden,
do white people always say? It's a family secret. Just
Yes,
a secret ingredient, just a family secret. We've been
I
holding
used to.
this recipe from generation to generation, and they don't share nothing with nobody. But
Right,
we so want to show off.
right. That's how Martha Stewart got rich, stealing family recipes and put
Thank
them
you.
into
And
cookbooks.
wrote a book, wrote a number one bestseller with our recipes.
What our
Buttermilk
recipe?
fried chicken.
Right. Who you know white eat greens? Nobody. Nobody. We
Nobody.
eat greens. They just now started figuring out collard greens is good for you. We've been eating
Thank
that.
you.
And so it's like,
And
but why
don't
do they can't like that's why I said we're the creators, we're the entrepreneurs. We have the mind capacity to get around you can steal all you want to, but you can't out invent a creative thinker. Creative people can get out from under a theft. We can outdo you because you only can go so far with it before you caught. And so it's just like we can't keep letting them steal from us like this. But we so hung up on arguing with each other that
Yeah.
we can't see we are the creators. We the better people. We are the people that can get out of this. We don't actually need them too much because they come out broke and they still come in cleaning up our community. We could have been done that if we could just stop fighting each other.
Now, on that note,
right.
sorry to have to interject, guys, because I actually love this conversation. I was just sitting back, enjoying all the points that were
Hey, man,
being.
I'm enjoying you too, dog. I'm enjoying you too.
So at this moment in time, I would say because of how this went, I might just so happen in future live streams open up the like send invites out so people can actually come directly up and talk. Because like I said before, I feel as though that even though the topic of the whole live stream was vastly different, there was a lot of important things and topics that were talked about and covered that realistically are more important than the original title of the stream. I wish I could go through and re-edit and restructure the live stream because of the whole conversation and whatnot. But I guess I got to just like cut it and then upload it so people can actually see it. But I don't actually want to end the live stream, but I have to.
All right.
So
I got to say this to the people out there. I am so sorry that you got me looking like this. I'm looking like Uncle Festus over here. But when you said, "Hey, call in," I said, "Man, forget it. I'm just gonna have to go on and put this." And I thank you so much for giving me the opportunity. And the other young lady, because Miss Chambray, hey, she is a blessing to the community, to her
yeah,
community.
yeah.
Yeah, and I just want to thank you for having me on and giving me a chance to speak. Thank you for not talking over me too. And thank you, Saji. Also, I just didn't want her bashing black men like that and not having, from a black woman's perspective, how we actually, some of us actually feel. We really do love you guys. We need you. And
We
it's
love
time,
y'all too.
yeah,
Bars.
it's time to start bringing each other up. If we want to lift each other up, it's time to start saying the things that uplift you. And to uplift each other, we
Yeah,
have to get
but I want to just say this one thing, and this is to the sisters. How can I kiss the lips that chew my ass out all day long? How can I kiss you when you downgrade me and talk crazy to me all day long? That's all I got to say. How can I kiss the lips that chew my ass out all day long? Okay,
and
back to the subject.
yeah, and I was just gonna say if we can just can we just start giving some love at this point? Can we say that our black men are beautiful too, or handsome, however we want to say it? Can we just say that they good to the world too? Can we start saying something good about people instead of dragging each other down? Can we start making our connection today? Can we stop bashing one another? Yeah, we go through hardship, but it ain't the whole world. It ain't all of us. It ain't
Yeah.
all of us.
Yep, that is facts. Well, that is it for the live stream. I want to say much love and respect and appreciation to Mr. Dorsey. Also, much love and respect and thank you for your service. Shout out to Sham for pulling up to the live stream as well. And I forgot what was the lady's name? East. I think they came up here. Much,
Yes.
much appreciation. For pulling up to the
What
stream
was
and
it? Yeah, Face East, I think it was.
yeah,
Was it
that,
Face East?
I think so.
Okay.
I think it was like Far East or something like that. But because of
Yeah,
her,
Face East,
even though
like toward the east. Yeah, Face East.
yeah, and because of her, that's the reason that we were able to have a lot of this conversation and a lot of other talks that are more important in talking about solutions and how to specifically go at one another in a positive light instead of highlighting all the negative all the time, and also talking about some past history of which that I'm not even privy to, because again, I'm a younger guy. So I love learning and hearing other people talk about the things that they have experienced and seen when it deals with history and things of that nature. But shout out, much love and respect to anybody that subscribed, stayed and listened. And that's just a part of the channel. I love you guys. I value you guys and respect you guys a lot.
FBA for life. FBA for life.
Right.
I am a true American. FBA for life.
And
Yes.
on that note,
Uh,
What'd you say, Sam?
I was saying stay safe, eat well.
That's bars, because that's what I'm about to
Militant,
do.
baby. I'm militant. I ain't with it.
And on that note, that is the end of the live stream. So go.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you too. Thank you all for your time, man. Thank y'all for y'all time. And peace out. Wait, Tippy says she a ghost? No, you're not a ghost, Tippy. We see you directly up here. And also much love, respect, and appreciation to all of my mods and to as D Money would say, all the regulars. That's a part of the channel and a part of the chat. Love you guys, and I'll see you guys in the next video and or live stream. Peace out.